Chapter 27:17. Sin Yan didn't wait for Lin Yi's reply before falling asleep. Lin Yi didn't know if he should laugh or cry. Was she too tired last night? It couldn't be. Sin Yan went to school like normal yesterday and didn't do anything that drained her stamina. Lin Yi had to continue practicing, so she went to bed early. Why was she sleeping so much today? But since Sin Yan had said so, Lin Yi decided to leave her be. He went out to talk to Meng Yao and started eating breakfast, but Lin Yi prepared a portion for Sin Yan in a lunchbox. He'd bring it to school later. Lin Yi had delayed going to school as much as he could, but Sin Yan was still drowsy when she woke up. She followed Lin Yi to the car and fell asleep again. Lin Yi, is Sin Yan sick again? Can you give her a checkup later? Meng Yao felt that something was wrong with Sin Yan. She hadn't been like this yesterday. Sin Yan had woken up in high spirits when Lin Yi had gone to the tomb. A stark difference from today. What was with the drastic change in just one day? All right, I'll give her a checkup when we get to school. Lin Yi nodded. They parked the car at school, and Sin Yan had to get up no matter how reluctant she was. She couldn't sleep on the side of the road, could she? She wasn't sleepwalking yet, after all. Do you want me to carry you to class? Lin Yi asked, seeing how tired Sin Yan was. Ah. Sin Yan was almost tempted by Lin Yi, but she couldn't provoke Xiaolong in school. She gritted her teeth and shook her head. No need, I can walk myself. All right. Lin Yi didn't insist, and went to class with Sin Yan. Sin Yan's head was heavy, and her feet were light. She almost fell a few times, and when she reached her seat, she fell asleep before Boss Bai came. Lin Yi took the opportunity to examine her, and found that Sin Yan's body, which had just recovered, was showing signs of weakness again. This situation surprised Lin Yi. Sin Yan had been drinking the medicine Lin Yi made for her every day, and her body should have been getting better and better. Why was it getting worse and worse? Lin Yi frowned, unable to make sense of it. Sin Yan was so energetic last night. Why was she so different this morning? Lin Yi didn't have time to think about it before Boss Bai entered the classroom and started a new lesson. Lin Yi saw that Sin Yan was really too tired and decided not to disturb her. He took her notebook and started making notes for her. Lin Yi didn't need to remember these things, since he was Boss Bai's special student. It was only a hobby that he was here to listen to the class. Xiaolong looked at Lin Yi and Sin Yan, a dark look in his eyes. He didn't know how his brother, Kong Mingming, was doing in the Sky Elixir sect and what position he had. Seeing his fiancée get intimate with another guy every day pissed him off. Kong bro, why don't you give your brother a call and ask him how he's doing? Pan Hu right suggested, noticing Xiaolong's displeasure. I'd like to, but I don't have the guts to ask. You know, that House Kong isn't even a normal noble house. How could we talk to an ancient sect? Xiaolong smiled bitterly. When Kong Mingming left, he communicated with us through your hidden house you. If we go to the Sky Elixir sect directly, they might not even respond to us. And even if they did, we wouldn't know their contact details. I can give you their contact details, but you're right. Pan Hu right nodded. All right, I'll go ask around for you today. Thank you very much. Xiaolong said gratefully. Sin Yan didn't wake up until the afternoon nap. She rubbed her sleepy eyes and looked at the time on her phone. She jumped. Ah, it's already noon? I've been sleeping all this time? Yeah, you looked really tired, so I didn't want to disturb you. Lin Yi smiled as he pushed a box of food in front of Sin Yan. I bought this from the cafeteria. Hurry up and eat it, it's getting cold. There's also breakfast here. If it's not enough, you can have some. With that, Lin Yi took out the breakfast he prepared this morning. He saw that Sin Yan hadn't woken up yet, so he asked Bai Wei to buy 2 boxes of food. He ate in the classroom as well. I'll eat your breakfast. I like your food. Sin Yan took the breakfast Lin Yi made, a little embarrassed. Lin Yi's food was much better than the ones in the cafeteria. She'd been living in Lin Yi's villa for a while now, and she'd become a bit picky. Normal food didn't taste good anymore. Haha, it's up to you. Lin Yi smiled. In the afternoon, Xinyan was in good spirits. Although she still yawned, she was much better than in the morning. After a whole day of classes, she went back with Lin Yi at night. Coiling Tiger Right, on the other hand, discussed with his uncle and grandpa about Xiaolong. Coiling Tiger, it's best if we don't mess with that Lin Yi. Him hitting on Xiaolong's wife has nothing to do with us. We shouldn't interfere, right? Right? Jin Tian thought for a while and gave his opinion. You're right, but Kong Mingming is the disciple of the Tiandan sect's fifth elder. If he inherits the elder's position in the future, it'll be like a dog ascending to the heavens. No matter how strong Lin Yi is, he won't be as strong as the Tiandan sect. He won't be able to compete with them, right? Right? Coiling Tiger thought about it a lot, so he agreed to Xiaolong's request. Zhentian and Coiling Tiger are both right, Old Yu said. However, if we call the Tiandan sect secretly, Lin Yi won't know. It's just a small effort. Coiling Tiger, don't go against Lin Yi on the surface. If Xiaolong wants to go against you, just watch. You can attack him behind his back, but don't let him get anything on the surface. Old Yu thought more. He already knew what happened to the hidden house Yu. On the hidden level, Zhao Qibing's kidnapping of Yuning wasn't a secret anymore. Lin Yi was able to walk out of the hidden house Yu unscathed, which proved the hidden house Yu's attitude. If the hidden house Yu couldn't do anything to Lin Yi, then what did the hidden house Yu have to go against Lin Yi? I understand. Right? Coiling Tiger nodded. He knew that Lin Yi couldn't be messed with. As a result, he kept a low profile in school. Even though he knew that Han Jingjing had the notes, he didn't dare to take it from her. What if Lin Yi found out and killed him? He wouldn't be able to do anything about it. Chapter 27:27 Refining the Bone Cleansing Pill. I'll call the young master of the Tiandan sect now, Old Yu said. Right? Coiling Tiger and Right Jin Tian didn't dare to speak. They waited quietly and watched Old Yu respectfully call the young master of the Tiandan sect Silkworm Transformation. Although Silkworm Transformation wasn't that old and was about the same age as Right Coiling Tiger, he was the young master of the Tiandan sect. He had a high status, and Old Yu couldn't compare to him. Hello, I'm the old master of the hidden house Yu. May I ask if the young master is here? Old Yu said respectfully to the person on the phone. He didn't expect Silkworm Transformation to answer the phone personally. Oh, it's Master Yu. The young master isn't here. What's the matter? The woman on the phone asked. Oh, when will the young master be free? Should I call again? Old Yu heard that Silkworm Transformation wasn't here, so he asked. Our young master has been practicing in seclusion recently. He's preparing for a big event. He can't answer your phone for a while. If you have anything, you can tell me, said the woman. I see. Old Yu felt a little strange. What was Silkworm Transformation preparing for? But he didn't dare to ask, so he said, It's like this. Isn't Kong Mingming from the Kong family accepted as a disciple by the fifth elder? Now, the Kong family wants to know how Kong Mingming is doing recently, so they asked me to help them find out. Oh, that's it. I'll ask Kong Mingming to call you back later, said the woman lightly. She was the personal maid of Silkworm Transformation. Her status in the Tiandan sect was naturally not ordinary, so she didn't have much respect for the disciple of the fifth elder. Okay, thank you, Old Yu said with a sigh of relief. Kong Xiaoming was nervously refining the pellet. Success or failure depended on this. This was his second time refining the bone and marrow cleansing pellet. He failed the first time, so he had to succeed the second time. Because there wasn't much time left for Silkworm Transformation, he had to go all out. Kong Mingming knew that his status and strength today were given to him by Silkworm Transformation. Once he couldn't refine the bone and marrow cleansing pill, Silkworm Transformation naturally wouldn't value him so much, and he wouldn't be able to stand firm in the Tiandan sect. If Lin Yi were here, he would be very surprised because Kong Mingming was now a Heaven Stage Master, a Huang Level 3 alchemist. This speed of advancement was simply like a rocket. Of course, in order to build up Kong Mingming, the Heavenly Elixir sect gave him Soul Gathering Pill, Small Qi Gathering Pill, Medium Qi Gathering Pill, and Qi Gathering Pill. Kong Mingming's strength could be said to have soared all the way. Very soon, he became a Heaven Stage Master and a Huang Level 3 alchemist. The Qi Gathering Pill was refined by the Xianzhen Grand Elder. Otherwise, with the Heavenly Elixir Sects, Heavenly Elixir Sects, Heavenly Elixir Sects, Heaven Stage, and Mandiren, the success rate wouldn't be so high, and he wouldn't have had time to give it to Kong Mingming. Kong Mingming received such care. It showed how important the bone and marrow cleansing pill was to the Heavenly Elixir Sect, or the Five Elements Sect. In the secret room sat Kong Mingming. His forehead was full of sweat as he condensed the alchemic fire to refine the bone and marrow cleansing pill. Beside him sat the Heavenly Elixir Sects, 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 Five Elements Sect. The Xianzhen Grand Elder personally sat here to supervise Kong Mingming's alchemy. One could imagine the importance of this alchemy mission. Slowly increase the temperature. Increase the intensity of the fire. The Xianzhen Grand Elder ordered Kong Mingming. Kong Mingming carefully followed the instructions. Stabilize the temperature. Continue to increase the intensity of the fire. The Xianzhen Grand Elder continued to order. Kong Mingming continued to follow the instructions. The Heavenly Silkworm transformations maid couldn't find Kong Mingming. She only saw the Fifth Elder. So she passed the Elder Yu's call to the Fifth Elder. I know, but Kong Mingming is now doing something big. Once it's done, he might be able to communicate with the outside world without any hindrance. The Fifth Elder was a little relieved and a little emotional at the same time. If his disciple successfully refined the bone and marrow cleansing pill, he would become the Eighth Elder of the Heavenly Elixir Sect. Although his position wouldn't be as high as the Fifth Elder, he would still be an elder. This was his disciple. Of course, the Fifth Elder was happy. However, thinking back, how much effort did he put in to become an elder of the Heavenly Elixir Sect? However, Kong Mingming was lucky. Not only did he have someone to assist him in leveling up, but he also refined a pill. This allowed him to stabilize his position as the Eighth Elder. How lucky was this? All right. The Heavenly Silkworm transformations maid nodded and left respectfully. She didn't really respect Kong Mingming, but she was very polite to the Fifth Elder. In the Heavenly Elixir Sect, the status of an elder was very high. Other than the Heavenly Silkworm transformation, they had the highest status. As for the Fifth Elder, his eyes were fixed on the door of the secret room, and he was extremely nervous. All right, slowly retract the fire! The Xianzhen Grand Elder shouted and said excitedly. Yes, Kong Mingming also felt that the pill was completed, so he quickly began to retract the fire. When Kong Mingming finished retracting the fire, the celestial being didn't care about the heat and directly opened the lid of the medicine cauldron. Instantly, the room was filled with a fragrant aroma. The bone and marrow cleansing pill was successfully refined. Kong Mingming wiped the sweat off his forehead and revealed a proud smile. He had been waiting for this moment. He finally succeeded. He was going to become the Eighth Elder of the Heavenly Elixir Sect. Whatever Lin Yi, whatever Kong Xiaobo, they were all trash. No matter how strong Lin Yi was, he was just jumping around in the aristocratic families. Would he dare to go against the ancient families? What was there to be afraid of if even the hidden families didn't dare to provoke them? The pitiful Kong Mingming still didn't know about Lin Yi's achievements. He still didn't know that the hidden families didn't dare to provoke Lin Yi anymore. He still thought that Lin Yi was the same as before he left. Very good. It's just that the quality is a bit lacking. The Xianzhen Grand Elder looked at the bone and marrow cleansing pill in his hand excitedly and then swallowed it. This scene stunned Kong Ming Ming and the celestial being. This bone and marrow cleansing pill wasn't for him to consume. Didn't it have other uses? Why was it swallowed by the Xianzhan Grand Elder? The Xianzhan Grand Elder looked at the two dumbfounded people in front of him and smiled. After I consume it, I can continue refining. Although Xiaoming can also refine it, his skills aren't as good as mine. After I consume it, I can refine a better quality bone and marrow cleansing pill. Oh, the celestial being nodded. He was shocked and thought that the Xianzhan Grand Elder had suddenly changed his mind. Chapter 2718. After all, in order to raise Kong Ming Ming, both the Sky Elixir Sect and Five Elements Sect had put in a lot of effort. This time, Elder Xuanjin had concocted 2/3 level Qi gathering pills consecutively, using up a lot of his Qi and stamina. Normally speaking, he wouldn't be able to concoct any more pills for at least half a year, but after using large amounts of treasured herbs, he was able to recover. The Sky Elixir Sect even took out the long-lost mid-Qi gathering pill for Kong Ming Ming to use. Every ancient sect had some of this in stock, but not many of them. Since the recipe was lost, they couldn't make it, and every pill they used was one less. Unless it was absolutely necessary, they wouldn't use it. They hadn't even used the Sky Silkworm transformation before, and now that they were giving it to Kong Ming Ming, it was enough to show just how important this pill of life extension and toxin cleansing was. Of course, what they didn't know was that this pill of life extension and toxin cleansing was a recipe Lin Yi had created based on Zhang Liju's notes. Not only did it increase the difficulty of the concoction, but there was also a flaw in it. But even Elder Xuanjin couldn't see the flaw in it. Unless my boss went there himself, perhaps he would be able to see the flaw. The only ones left were Lin Yi and the missing Zhang Liju. But if Lin Yi knew about Kong Ming Ming's situation, perhaps he would also sigh. Nowadays, having a good master and a good sect was more important than anything else. He could become a sky class just by eating elixirs. Although he was just an elixir refiner with no strength, like a pig on steroids, he was still a sky class. Especially the fire pill, which allowed Kong Ming Ming to have the fire element, allowing him to become a fire and wood elixir refiner. Since he only had 2 elements in his body, there wouldn't be any conflict, and there was no need for them to circular. It was fine as long as they were used. With the guidance of Elder Xianzhen, it would be a piece of cake for him to become a 3rd-grade alchemist. Now that Kong Ming Ming had become the 8th elder, his status in the Heavenly Elixir Sect had improved a lot. Many of the original restrictions were removed. The Heavenly Elixir Sect held an elder conferring ceremony, and Kong Ming Ming officially became an elder of the Heavenly Elixir Sect. The maid who had been transformed by the Heavenly Silkworm came to Kong Ming Ming again. However, this time her attitude was much better. She respectfully took him to make a phone call. Kong Ming Ming first dialed the number of the hidden right family, but his attitude was not as respectful. "Hello? Is this Patriarch you?" Kong Ming Ming said to the other side of the phone. "Yes, it's me. You are?" The phone call was from the Heavenly Elixir Sect, and the tone was so rude. Old Master Yu subconsciously thought that it was a big shot in the Heavenly Elixir Sect, so his tone became very respectful. "I'm Kong Ming Ming." Kong Ming Ming said faintly, "Patriarch Yu, why are you looking for me?" Kong Ming Ming? When Old Master Yu heard that the other party was Kong Ming Ming, he was a little annoyed. He thought, what's wrong with Kong Ming Ming? After going to the Heavenly Elixir Sect for a few days, he doesn't know what's going on? He actually uses this tone to talk to me? This young man is really impetuous. He doesn't use you to me, but only you, which made Old Master Yu very uncomfortable. However, it was no wonder that Old Master Yu didn't think much about it. It was because the previous Heavenly Silkworm, transformed maid, wasn't very enthusiastic about Kong Ming Ming's tone and attitude. She had a kind of indifferent attitude. So, Old Master, you simply didn't think that Kong Ming Ming could be so powerful now. "It's me. Do you have anything?" Kong Ming Ming wanted to call his family, but he heard from the heavenly silkworm transformed maid that old Master Yu of the hidden family was looking for him. Out of gratitude for introducing him, Kong Ming Ming called him back first. However, he didn't expect old Master Yu to hesitate for a long time. He didn't say what the matter was, so Kong Ming Ming was a little impatient. Your big brother Kong Xiaolong, he can't call you, so he asked me to ask about your recent situation. Old Master Yu held back his anger and said to Kong Ming Ming, "How are you recently?" "Oh, why can't he call me?" Kong Ming Ming snorted coldly and said fiercely, "You tell him to call Heavenly Elixir Sect directly and find the 8th Elder. He can find me at any time." Find the 8th Elder? Old Master Yu was stunned. He thought, isn't Kong Ming Ming's master the 5th Elder? Moreover, there are only 7 elders in Heavenly Elixir Sect. Where did the 8th Elder come from? "Yes, I am the 8th Elder," Kong Ming Ming said. "W8, what? You are the 8th Elder?" Old Master, you listened to Kong Ming Ming's words, and he couldn't wrap his head around it. Kong Ming Ming became the 8th Elder of Heavenly Elixir Sect? Nonsense. Is it interesting to pretend to be an elder? Kong Ming Ming snorted. I pretend to be an elder, casually. Am I not afraid of being punished? Ah, I'm sorry, I've seen the 8th Elder. Old Master Yu was shocked. It seemed that Kong Ming Ming's big thing was done. He was promoted to the 8th Elder of Heavenly Elixir Sect. No wonder his tone was so rude. It turned out that his position was there. Therefore, Old Master Yu quickly apologized carefully. The Elder of Heavenly Elixir Sect had a respected position. He couldn't offend him. At this moment, Old Master Yu adjusted his mentality. He knew that Kong Ming Ming's family was no longer the Kong family of the past. When a man achieved success, his chickens and dogs would rise to heaven. Pan, who really guessed it right. It's okay. Is there anything else? Asked Kong Ming Ming. No, the 8th Elder. Do you have any instructions? Old Master, you said in fear and trepidation. No, I have to call my elder brother. Kong Ming Ming said. Okay, please. Old Master, you heard the sound of the other party hanging up the phone. He wiped the cold sweat on his forehead. He was scared to death. I almost offended Kong Ming Ming. Who would have thought that this kid was so powerful? He suddenly became an elder of Heavenly Elixir Sect? Grandpa, Kong Ming Ming really became an elder of Heavenly Elixir Sect? Old Master Yu's phone call was made in front of Pan Hu and Yu Jintian, so the two of them also heard the contents of the phone call. Pan Hu asked in shock. Yes, he really did it. He wouldn't dare to lie. Old Master Yu sighed and said, Pan Hu, you're really far-sighted. You've always had a good relationship with Kong Xiaolong. Otherwise, our hidden house of you would be in trouble this time. Yu Jintian's face darkened. He didn't speak. He almost made a wrong decision just now. If he offended the Kong family, it was equivalent to offending Kong Ming Ming. The hidden house of you would be in danger. Grandpa, then in the future. Pan, who asked quickly. Chapter 27:19. But we can respect Xiaolong. We can't mess with the Heavenly Elixir Sect, but we can't mess with Lin either. Elder Yu was calmer. Don't offend Lin Yi just to please Xiaolong. Otherwise, it'll be hard for us if Lin Yi comes knocking on our door. I know. Don't worry, Grandpa. I won't mess with Lin Yi directly. You coiling tiger, hurriedly promised. Actually, he wouldn't dare provoke Lin Yi head-on. He was afraid that Lin Yi would beat him up. Kong Xiaoming's heart was filled with pride. He thought about all the things that had happened since he came to Sky Elixir Sect. It felt like a lifetime had passed. He was now standing in the middle of the top few in a sect. From a good-for-nothing playboy, he had become an elder of an ancient sect. Looking back on the past, Kong Ming realized that the head of House Kong was nothing. House Kong wasn't even a normal noble house in the past. He actually wanted to fight for the head of House Kong. Now, this position was nothing in Kong Mingming's eyes. The hatred he had for his brother Zhao Long disappeared without a trace. A person stood at a different height, had a different perspective, and looked at things differently. The current Kong Mingming was no longer the Kong Mingming of the past. He hoped that his brother could make House Kong stronger and stronger. He couldn't give up the elder position of Heavenly Elixir Sect and return to House Kong. So, Kong Mingming could only try his best to support his brother Zhao Long. With mixed feelings, Kong Mingming dialed his grandpa's room number. "Hello, I'm Kong Like Guy." Dr. Kong picked up the phone. House Kong had been keeping a low profile recently. Although they had the support of the hidden House U, House Kong wasn't even a noble house. Although they were helping the hidden House U sell some low-end elixirs, Kong Like Guy wasn't as tough as he used to be after losing the title of Miracle Doctor. "Grandpa, it's me, Zhao Ming." It had been a long time since Kong Mingming heard his grandfather's voice again, so he was very excited. Thinking of how the Kong family had to beg for the title of an aristocratic family and how their medical company was ruined by Lin Yi, Kong Mingming was filled with emotions, illumination. Dr. Kong was also taken aback. He quickly asked, "Zhao Ming, how are you? It's been such a long time. Did you suffer in the Heavenly Elixir Sect?" "Of course I suffered a lot." Kong Mingming recalled his time in the Heavenly Elixir Sect. It felt like a lifetime ago. The pain wasn't something an ordinary person could endure. Just taking elixirs to break through was enough to make him suffer. And then there was the devilish training day and night. It was true that a great teacher produces a great disciple. But if Kong Mingming hadn't been trained like a dog, he wouldn't have his current strength. It could be said that before Kong Xiaoming had succeeded, neither the Five Elements Sect nor the Heavenly Elixir Sect had treated him as a person, but as a tool to be used. Now that the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing had been refined, Kong Xiaoming finally had the status he deserved. Sigh. Dr. Kong sighed. "Our Kong family is small, not even an aristocratic family. Compared to the ancient sects, it's like heaven and earth. Grandson, you've suffered. Grandpa can't help you get out of this suffering. Our only backing is the hidden House of You, but even the hidden House of You can't help us say these things. Haha, Grandpa, don't say that. Your grandson's suffering is over. Our Kong family's glory days are here." Kong Mingming laughed. "What aristocratic family? What hidden aristocratic family? If I say the Kong family is the hidden Kong family, then it is the hidden Kong family. Who dares to say otherwise?" Ah, Dr. Kong was a little dumbfounded after hearing Kong Mingming's words. "Grandson Zhao Ming, have you become stupid from exhaustion? Are you talking nonsense? Grandpa, you still don't know, right? I've already helped the Heavenly Elixir Sect complete that big thing. I'm now the 8th elder of the Heavenly Elixir Sect, one of the most powerful people in the sect." Kong Mingming said, "What? You've become the elder of the Heavenly Elixir Sect? Is that true?" Dr. Kong didn't believe it. "Moreover, you don't have the corresponding strength. Can you sit in that position?" "Of course it's true." Kong Mingming said, "Strength? Your grandson, is now a Heaven Stage Master, a 3rd-level alchemist of the Yellow class. I'm at the top of the alchemists. Even the old Master Yu of the Hidden Yu family has to bow down to me. You're already a Heaven Stage Master and a 3rd-level alchemist of the Yellow class?" Dr. Kang's heart almost exploded after hearing Kong Mingming's words. How was it possible? How could Kong Mingming be so powerful? Of course, although I don't know why the Heavenly Elixir Sect needs the bone and marrow cleansing pill. In order to cultivate me to refine this pill, they spent all their resources on me. I dare say that even the young master of the Heavenly Elixir Sect doesn't have such preferential treatment. How can I not be powerful? Kong Mingming said proudly. "Oh my God!" Dr. Kong was shocked, but after the shock, he believed Kong Mingming's words. He raised his head and shouted to the sky, "Ha ha ha! My Kong family is finally going to rise again!" "Of course, Grandpa. Don't be afraid. As long as I'm here, the Kong family will definitely be glorious." Kong Ming Ming said, "I'm a heaven stage master. My lifespan is very long. It's enough to protect the Kong family for more than 100 years. Don't worry and develop the family scale." "Good. I'll announce that you're the next master of the Kong family in a while," Dr. Kong said excitedly. "Hee, Grandpa. Leave the position of master to my brother. I'll be an elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect, so I won't be able to return to the Kong family. However, I'll always be the guardian of the Kong family," Kong Ming Ming said arrogantly. However, Dr. Kong didn't think that Kong Ming Ming was bragging. He had the ability and capability. A family with a heaven stage master could definitely become a hidden house. This heaven stage master was also an elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect, one of the biggest ancient sections. This made this hidden house have an ancient background. Although the hidden house also had the Heavenly Elixir sect's background, it wasn't as close as Kong Ming Ming's background. After all, Kong Ming Ming would definitely lean towards his own family. "I understand, Zhao Ming. You're the pride of the Kong family." Dr. Kong let out a long breath. "I'll inform Kong Guifeng, Kong Suopu, and Kong Xiaolong to come back and share this good news." Chapter 2720. All right, I got it. Dr. Kong hung up excitedly. Today was destined to be a day of celebration for House Kong. Other than Dr. Kong, Xiaolong was also the most excited. He'd been holding it in for too long, watching Lin Yi flirt with his fiancée right in front of him. It was a huge humiliation. But in the past, Xiaolong had to hold it in so he wouldn't piss Lin Yi off. When he couldn't hold it in anymore, he'd look at the ninja turtle and hold it in. But now, Xiaolong didn't have to hold it in anymore. He could finally fight back, go against Lin Yi, and pursue Wang Xinyan. He had someone to rely on. Xiaolong knew very well that Lin Yi wouldn't dare kill him in Boss Bai's class, but he was afraid that Lin Yi would play dirty. But after what happened with Pinliang, Xiaolong realized a problem. Lin Yi wouldn't really kill Pinliang. Even if Pinliang wasn't Boss Bai's student, he wouldn't dare. At the end of the day, it was because Pinliang had an ancient background. If he wasn't a disciple of the everyday sect, would Lin Yi even be afraid of him? So now that Xiaolong had an ancient background and a younger brother who was an elder of the Sky Elixir sect, he didn't believe that Lin Yi would dare kill him. At the very least, when it came to fighting Lin Yi for Wang Xinyan, as long as he didn't go overboard, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Although Dr. Kong said that Kong Ming Ming was an elder of the Sky Elixir sect, Xiaolong wasn't that stupid when it came to Lin Yi. Lin Yi wasn't someone who could be judged by common sense. If you didn't cross his bottom line, he might not do anything to you because of your background. But if you crossed his bottom line, he wouldn't care who you were. He'd kill you first. And so, while House Kong was discussing their future plans, Xiaolong was also plotting how he was going to pursue Wang Xinyan. At the very least, he wanted to surpass Lin Yi in this matter and get rid of the hatred in his heart. In the beginning, Xiaolong didn't have any feelings for Wang Xinyan. The marriage was only beneficial to House Kang's development. But as time went on, especially with Lin Yi joining the family, Xiaolong subconsciously treated Wang Xinyan as his exclusive property. He wouldn't allow anyone else to touch her. Seeing how close Lin Yi was to Wang Xinyan every day, Xiaolong was filled with anger and discomfort. Now that he had the chance to turn things around, he wouldn't let it go. This had become a twisted mentality that he had been suppressing for a long time. Even if House Kong was powerful now, he didn't want to break off the engagement with Wang Xinyan. If he did, wouldn't that prove that he was afraid of Lin Yi? It was true that he was afraid of Lin Yi, but now that he had Kong Ming Ming, an elder of the Sky Elixir sect, backing him up, what did he have to be afraid of? The next morning, Lin Yi woke up. Wang Xinyan was still sound asleep, and Lin Yi didn't wake her up. He ate breakfast with Meng Yao, Yushu, and Han Jingjing. After that, Lin Yi didn't wake Wang Xinyan either. Instead, he took her to school. When they entered the classroom, Lin Yi was still holding Wang Xinyan in his arms. This scene was witnessed by Xiaolong, who had just walked into the classroom in high spirits. Xiaolong was furious. How could he hold it in? Even if he didn't have Kong Mingming's support, Lin Yi walking into the classroom with his fiancée in his arms was enough to make him go berserk. Lin Yi, what are you doing? Let go of that lowly. Kong Mingming roared. Lin Yi looked at Kong Mingming, confused. What are you talking about? Is there something wrong with you? Ugh. Let go of Wang Xinyan. Kong Mingming had read a bunch of romance novels yesterday, trying to find a way to win Lin Yi against Wang Xinyan. He'd read too much, and when he was walking, he was thinking about the plots in those novels. Suddenly, he saw Lin Yi holding Wang Xinyan, and he said the wrong thing in his excitement. You really are crazy. Can't you see that she's asleep? Let go of her, and she'll fall to the ground. Lin Yi frowned, ignoring Xiaolong and walking into the classroom. Wait, I should be the one hugging her. Why are you hugging her? Xiaolong tried to stop Lin Yi. Lin Yi ignored him. Right, why is she asleep? How did you meet her? Where did the two of you go yesterday? Xiaolong suddenly realized that something was wrong. If Wang Xinyan was asleep, then it couldn't have been a coincidence at school, or she wouldn't be walking while sleeping. It had to be Lin Yi carrying the sleeping Wang Xinyan to school. What had happened between them? Xiaolong felt like he'd been cheated on. Xiaolong's face was red, and his eyes were about to spit fire, but Lin Yi had already entered the classroom. He couldn't ask too many questions in front of the students, or he'd be the one embarrassed. As a result, Xiaolong could only follow Lin Yi into the classroom with a sullen look on his face. Kong bro, what's wrong? Pan Hu Yu saw the scene, but he didn't change his expression. Lin Yi is too much. Xiaolong's face was green. It seems like he really doesn't see me as Wang Xinyan's fiancée. This, Pan Hu right calculated in his heart. I really can't help much with this, brother. The problem is that Lin Yi doesn't know your background right now, so naturally he won't put you in his eyes. If he knew your background, he'd probably be a little more cautious. That's true. Xiaolong calmed down after listening to Right Coiling Tiger's words. Lin Yi's arrogance was probably because he didn't put House Kong in his eyes at all, but that was understandable. House Kong used to be like the sun was setting in the west, and it was normal for Lin Yi to look down on them. After all, he didn't even put the hidden house, you coiling tiger, in his eyes. Then what should I do? I can't just tell Lin Yi like an idiot that my brother is the 8th elder of the Sky Elixir sect, can I? Well, it's not impossible. Pan Hu, you thought about it. After class, I'll go talk to Han Jingjing and see if I can get her notes. You can help her and tell her that your brother is the 8th elder of the Sky Elixir sect. That way, Lin, you will hear it. That's a good idea. Xiaolong agreed immediately. This way, he'd indirectly tell Lin Yi about his background. Chapter 27-21. During the first class, Xinyan still hadn't woken up. Lin Yi still helped her take notes and didn't disturb her, but he was very puzzled. What was wrong with Xinyan? From Lin Yi's examination, Xinyan didn't seem to have any illness. She was just very weak, but Lin Yi had been making her potions every day. Why was it getting worse instead of getting better? Xiaolong had wanted to bring Pan Hu right to show off after class, but Xinyan hadn't woken up, and she wouldn't be able to see him. He had no choice but to push the idea aside and walk to Lin Yi's side. What did you do to her last night? Why is she still sleeping? Lin Yi looked at Xiaolong faintly. She's sick. What can I do to her? Plus, I don't have to tell you what I did to her, do I? She's my fiancée. I have the right to know. Xiaolong said. Oh, she's your fiancée? Aren't we not married yet? I can still say that she's my girlfriend. Lin Yi said. You. Xiaolong suppressed his anger and turned to leave. He sneered in his heart. Lin Yi, when Xinyan wakes up, you'll see how scared you are when you find out about my background. I'll let you be cocky for a while. It wasn't until noon that Xinyan woke up. Xiaolong and Panhu, you bought lunch boxes to eat in the classroom in order to show off. Xiaolong didn't care about eating anymore when he saw Xinyan wake up. He stood up and strode towards Lin Yi and Xinyan. Lin Yi frowned when he saw the two walking over. What Lin Yi didn't expect was that Panhu right sat next to Han Jingjing, who was behind Lin Yi. Xiaolong, on the other hand, didn't bother Lin Yi and Xinyan. Han Jingjing, how has your alchemy been recently? How about we exchange some pointers? Yu Panhu said to Han Jingjing, who was writing and drawing on the tablet. He looked at the tablet in Han Jingjing's hands and really wanted to snatch it away. Oh, Han Jingjing turned off the tablet and glanced at Tiger Yu. Are you here to cheat me of my good information again? Cough, cough, cough. Panhu, you was choked by Han Jingjing's words. What do you mean I'm here to cheat you of your good information again? It was clearly a crappy class notebook, but you cheated me of so much money at the auction. However, Right Coiling Tiger couldn't say anything. After all, the auction was voluntary, and no one forced him to buy anything from the auction. So if he lost money, he could only blame it on his bad luck. Right Coiling Tiger could only say, "How can you say it's cheating? We are just communicating. I just want to ask if you've encountered any difficulties when refining pills recently. Can you help me solve my problems?" Han Jingjing asked back. Of course I can't, but I can find a powerful refiner to give you some pointers. That refiner is quite powerful. Right Coiling Tiger said. Oh, who is that? Han Jingjing frowned. You're not talking about your grandfather, are you? Of course not. My grandfather is only a second-level refiner. The one I'm talking about is a third-level refiner, and a sky class at that. Right Coiling Tiger said in a tempting tone. How about it? Do you want him to give you some pointers? Oh, then let him come. Han Jingjing said perfunctorily. That's an elder of the Sky Elixir sect. How can he come just like that? How about this? Give me your notes, and I'll show it to him and let him give me some pointers. Just a few words, and you'll benefit a lot. Right Coiling Tiger said. You're cheating Jing's notes again. Who knows if there's such a person? Han Jingjing glared at Tiger Yu and didn't want to talk to him anymore. How can it be cheating? There really is such a person. Kong Xiaolong Bro can be a witness. If you don't believe me, ask Kong Bro. Right Coiling Tiger winked at Xiaolong, indicating that it was his turn. Xiaolong had been waiting for a long time. He quickly said, Of course, because that person is my younger brother, Kong Mingming. He's currently the 8th elder of the Sky Elixir sect, a sky class and a third-level refiner. Oh, is that so? Han Jingjing said indifferently. When Xiaolong said this, he was paying attention to Lin Yi's expression and reaction. What made him depressed was that Lin Yi didn't seem to hear him at all. He continued to eat quietly, not showing any signs of discomfort. Of course, Lin Yi was only shocked on the surface. In fact, Lin Yi was extremely shocked. He never would have thought that a once ignorant and useless young master would become a sky class and third-level refiner. This was too crazy, wasn't it? Although Lin Yi knew that a solo practitioner like him couldn't be compared to the disciples of the ancient sects, he didn't think that Kong Mingming could go from a normal person to sky class in such a short amount of time. Even faster than Zhang Naipeo, Lin Yi understood that a refiner's training speed was faster than a normal practitioner's, but at the same time their strength was also weaker than a normal practitioner's. But he still felt that it was unfair. Was he on drugs? How could his strength grow so fast? Even if Xiao Xiao was an inheritor, she wouldn't be as fast as him. However, this also meant that either Xiaolong was bragging or the Sky Elixir sect was hiding their strength in the ancient sections. Not only was it one of the strongest sects in the ancient sects, but he had something else to rely on. But what Lin Yi didn't understand was, how did Kong Mingming become the 8th elder of the Sky Elixir sect? Why would the Sky Elixir sect put so much effort into training a useless young master like him? Even training Xiaolong would be better than him, right? All of a sudden, Lin Yi thought of a possibility. When Kong Xiaoming kidnapped Guan Exen, he'd ask for the recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. But what Lin Yi had given him was the new recipe he created by combining the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing with Zhang Liju's original pill of bone cleansing. Back then, Lin Yi had set 2 small flaws in the recipe, one of which was that in order to make the new pill of bone cleansing, one had to have taken the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, or the pill of bone cleansing. Only those with a pure body constitution could successfully make it. Chapter 27-22. The Sky Elixir sect must have discovered this secret and trained Kong Mingming to become a Sky Class Master and a Golden Class 3rd level refiner. But this also meant that the Sky Elixir sect placed a lot of importance on Kong Mingming. In other words, they placed a lot of importance on the bone cleansing pill. Otherwise, they wouldn't have trained Kong Mingming like this. But what did they want the pill for? Lin Yi couldn't figure it out and decided to ask Boss Bai when he had the time. Thinking of this, it all made sense. House Kong, House Yu, and the Sky Elixir sect were working together, and the master who kidnapped Guan Exen was either from House Yu or the Sky Elixir sect. Xiaolong guessed that this was a show-off to Han Jingjing after he became strong. Xiaolong was disappointed when Lin Yi didn't respond. He wasn't sure if Lin Yi was afraid of the Sky Elixir sect or not. Why wasn't he reacting at all? Lin Yi was strong, and he could kill a Sky Class Master in a second, but the Sky Elixir sect was a big place. He shouldn't be afraid, right? So, Han Jingjing, do you want his advice? Panhu didn't really care about Lin Yi's reaction. He only wanted Han Jingjing's notes. He wasn't interested in messing with Lin Yi anymore. Since House you couldn't afford to mess with them, then it was best not to. The 8th elder of the Sky Elixir sect? Compared to mine, he's weak. I'm not interested, Han Jingjing said with a disinterested look. Yours? Who's yours? Right Coiling Tiger's eyes lit up. He was moved and asked Han Jingjing. He had always wanted to find out Han Jingjing's master. Otherwise, how could Han Jingjing know alchemy? Mine? You don't know? Han Jingjing asked. Who is it? Can you tell me? Panhu asked eagerly. All right, since you're so sincere, I'll tell you, Han Jingjing said. Actually, Jingjing is the pill Saint Zhang Liju. What? You really got Zhang Liju's legacy? Pan, who was shocked. Jingjing hasn't finished yet. Do you want to listen or not? If you don't want to listen, then forget it. Han Jingjing was very unhappy about being interrupted by Right Coiling Tiger. Then continue. Right Coiling Tiger said, Mine belongs to the pill Saint Zhang Liju, the strongest refiner in the world, Elder Xiantian. Han Jingjing said. Right Coiling Tiger was speechless after listening. Are you talking about Boss Bai? Don't you know? Han Jingjing glared at Tiger Yu unhappily. Are you playing with Jingjing? If there's nothing else, let's go. Jingjing has to study. This, all right. Right Coiling Tiger didn't know how high the sky was, but he couldn't say that Kong Mingming was stronger than Boss Bai. Even if Boss Bai's meridians were all destroyed, he was still stronger than Kong Mingming. Xiaolong was a bit troubled as well. He'd wanted to scare Lin Yi a bit, but it seemed like Lin Yi wasn't affected at all. He didn't care at all. Xinyan was in front, and she heard Xiaolong's words. The news of Kong Mingming becoming a Sky Class, the 8th elder of the Sky Elixir sect, hit her chest like a hammer. She couldn't breathe. How could Kong Mingming be so lucky? He had already surpassed Lin Yi and became a Sky Class, and he had such a high position in the Sky Elixir sect? All of this made Xinyan feel as if the world was spinning around her. She had some hope, But now Lin Yi seemed to have been left behind by his opponents again. Sin Yan sneaked a glance at Lin Yi, wanting to say something. Don't be afraid, it's nothing. A sky-class refiner doesn't have much fighting power. Lin Yi saw through Sin Yan's worry and comforted her. Let's eat. Yeah. Sin Yan didn't relax just yet. What Lin Yi said made sense, but Sin Yan knew what it meant to be a third-level golden-class refiner and how rare they were. Lin Yi had always wanted Han Jingjing to become a golden-class third-level refiner, but she didn't succeed. Kong Mingming did, and Kong Mingming's position in the Sky Elixir sect was obvious. Although Kong Mingming wasn't that strong, he had the Sky Elixir sect behind him. As a result, Sin Yan couldn't bring herself to be happy, but in order not to worry Lin Yi, she decided to eat her lunch. The most confused were Xiaolong and Tiger Right. The two returned to their seats, and Xiaolong said unhappily, "Why doesn't Lin Yi have any reaction?" "Kong bro, I think there are 3 possibilities." Right Coiling Tiger thought about it. First, Lin Yi has other sources of information, so he knew about this a long time ago. That's why he wasn't shocked. Second, Lin Yi doesn't care about this at all. Elder 8 is a sky class and a third-level refiner. But with Lin Yi's strength, killing him in a second shouldn't be hard. Third, Lin Yi is pretending to be calm. But from what I see, this possibility is very small. HM, you're right. My brother is a sky class, but Lin Yi can kill sky class masters in a second, and his refiner is even weaker. This is probably why Lin Yi doesn't care. Xiaolong thought through some things after hearing Tiger Right's words. He thought about Lin Yi's strength. Then what do we do? But both of them guessed wrongly. Lin Yi, in their eyes, was the most impossible third possibility. But it's fine. At least Lin Yi won't do anything to you. Elder 8 isn't as strong as Lin Yi, but he represents the Sky Elixir sect, and there are other masters in the sect. You just do what you need to do. Didn't you see that Lin Yi didn't do anything to us just now? Tiger Right analyzed. That's true. Xiaolong felt a little better. In the afternoon, during the White Boss's break, Lin Yi came to find him. "Yi, why are you in such a hurry? I haven't looked up Sin Yan's special condition yet." "You'll have to wait." The White Boss thought that Lin Yi was here to ask him about Sin Yan, so he shrugged and said helplessly, "Mr. Bai, you misunderstood. I'm here to ask you something else." Lin Yi waved his hand and pointed to an empty place. "Shall we go there?" "Oh, okay." The White Boss nodded, but he was a little confused. What did Lin Yi want to ask him? "Mr. Bai, it's like this. Have you heard of the pill?" Lin Yi asked. Chapter 27-23. Of course I've heard of it. Moreover, our 5 Elements sect used to have this recipe, but we lost it later. Why are you suddenly asking about this? Speaking up to this point, Boss Bai suddenly had a look of realization. Oh, I know. Did you read some ancient books yourself and found out about the conditions for inheriting the virtual constitution? Question mark. Lin Yi was stunned when he heard Boss Bai's random words. What do you mean? Why is it related to my virtual constitution? Huh? You don't know? Boss Bai also looked at Lin Yi in confusion. Of course I don't know. Could this marrow and bone cleansing pill be related to inheritance? Lin Yi suddenly thought of something. That's right, because the virtual constitution is obtained through external forces. It's not particularly pure. It exists in the body and has many flaws. The effect of the marrow and bone cleansing pill is to make the virtual constitution pure, thereby increasing the success rate of inheritance. Boss Bai nodded and said, for example, if 2 people with the virtual constitution accept the inheritance together, their chances are the same, and either of them can obtain the inheritance. However, if one of them takes the marrow and bone cleansing pill, then the one who takes the marrow and bone cleansing pill will definitely receive the inheritance. In other words, after taking the marrow and bone cleansing pill, one can definitely receive the inheritance? Lin Yi asked. That's not it. It just increases the success rate. Nothing is absolute, and this can also fail. Boss Bai shook his head and said, I see. The Heavenly Elixir sect might be refining this marrow and bone cleansing pill. Lin Yi said, Heavenly Elixir sect? Maybe the 5 Elements sect needs it? Boss Bai frowned and said, Taganlong was crippled by you. Maybe the 5 Elements sect is in a hurry to cultivate another replacement. So they're using the marrow and bone cleansing pill? That's not it either. It should be that before I crippled Taganlong, they had already started searching for the recipe and were preparing to refine it. Lin Yi shook his head and denied this guess. Then maybe it's another plan that was prepared a long time ago. Boss Bai thought for a moment and said, Taganlong is the light pawn in their plan. As far as I know, there should be a dark pawn. Maybe they never gave up on the dark pawn from the very beginning, and the light and the dark are synchronized. Even if something happens to one of them, it won't affect the entire plan. I see. Lin Yi nodded and guessed. In that case, their spy might also have a constitution of the 5 elements and 7 attributes, but there's a void attribute among them. It's possible, but I don't know the details. Xianchen wouldn't tell me, Boss Bai said. The bell for class rang, and Lin Yi returned to his seat. He had basically asked all the questions he wanted to ask, and he had gained something. At least he knew that if the Phantom Attribute wanted to receive the legacy, they needed to have a condition to increase the success rate. At night, after school, Lin Yi walked out of the classroom with Xinyan and Han Jingjing as usual, and then drove back to the villa with Meng Yao and the others. Because of what happened in the morning, Zhao Long was still holding a grudge against Lin Yi and Xinyan. After school, he didn't go back to the dorm or the Kangs, but followed Lin Yi and Xinyan to the parking lot. When he saw Xinyan get into Lin Yi's car, his eyes turned green with anger. As expected, there's a problem. Zhao Long pointed at Lin Yi's car, furious. He wanted to rush up and pull Xinyan out of the car, but his rationality told him that he would probably get beaten up. It was true that Lin Yi didn't dare to kill him, but he would definitely get beaten up. As long as he didn't die, it wouldn't be a big deal. After all, Pin Liang didn't even have an advantage against Lin Yi before. Kong bro, calm down. Let's follow them and see. Pan Hu, you stopped the car beside Zhao Long and opened the door. All right, I'll go see where they're going. Zhao Long nodded and got in the car, and Pan Hu, you followed Lin Yi. Zhao Long knew that he was alone and that he would be at a disadvantage against Lin Yi. After getting in the car, he calmed down and took out his phone, recording the entire process of Lin Yi's car. Lin Yi noticed that Pan Hu was following them, but he didn't bother with him. After all, a lot of people in the class knew where he lived, and it wasn't a secret. As long as he didn't do anything dangerous, Lin Yi wouldn't bother with him. The car stopped in front of Lin Yi's villa. Han Jingjing and Han Xiaoqiao went back to their own villa, while Lin Yi, Xinyan, Meng Yao, and Yushu entered Lin Yi's villa. This scene was recorded by Zhao Long, who was parked far away at the entrance of the district. Lin Yi, you're living with Xinyan? This is intolerable. Zhao Long was so angry that he wanted to smash the phone on the floor, but he held himself back. This was important evidence. He couldn't beat Lin Yi head-on, but he could think of other ways. Kong bro, don't be impulsive. Impulsiveness is the devil. Pan Hu, you didn't want Zhao Long and Lin Yi to fight. It wouldn't do him any good. Let's go to the Xiao family. Zhao Long took a deep breath and said to Pan Hu, after the marriage, the Xiao family and the Kong family moved to Donghai to help House Kong with their business. Especially now that House Kong was working for House Yu, the Xiao family could get a lot of benefits, even if they just ran errands. As a result, the Xiao family was very close to the Kong family. Especially yesterday, when the news of Kong Mingming becoming the 8th elder of the Sky Elixir sect spread. Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben of the Xiao family decided that they would follow House Kang's lead from now on. They had to stabilize the marriage. House Kong was getting stronger and stronger, and the Xiao family was already climbing up the social ladder. Without this marriage, it was hard to say if House Kong would continue to support the Xiao family. Xiaolong's sudden visit surprised Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben. After receiving the notification from the guard, the two brothers personally went to the entrance of the Xiao family's villa and respectfully invited Xiaolong and Pan Huyu into the villa. Master Kong, Master Yu, your visit brings light to our humble house. Xiao Ben smiled. Bro, let sis-in-law wash the fruits and pour some tea. No need. I can't eat and I can't drink. Xiaolong waved his hand coldly, his face dark. I'm here today to cancel the marriage. Chapter 27-24. Could it be that because Kong Mingming had become the 8th elder of the Sky Elixir sect, House Kong felt that the Xiao family was no longer worthy of a marriage alliance? Xiao Ben felt bitter at the thought, but he didn't dare to get angry. After all, House Kong was no longer something that the Xiao family could reach. They could only look up to them. Young Master Kong, what do you mean by this? Didn't we agree on the marriage between our two families? You can't cancel it just because your brother is rich now, can you? Xiao Ji was a straightforward person and couldn't hold back his words. He wanted to die, knowing the reason behind it. Xiao Ben thought to himself that his brother didn't know how to beat around the bush. Now that he had said it, there was no turning back. Wouldn't he have to cancel it, even if he didn't want to? My brother is rich now. Xiaolong smiled coldly. Do you think House Kong would do something like that? We've already resolved the misunderstanding. Would we make the same mistake again? Then you're... Xiao Ben realized that it wasn't because of Kong Mingming's rise to power and his ancient background that caused House Kong to abandon the Xiao family. It was because of something else. At the thought, Xiao Ben was grateful for his brother's bluntness. If he didn't say it, he wouldn't even know the reason behind it. Only by knowing the reason could he solve the problem. If he didn't know the reason, he wouldn't know why Xiaolong was so angry. Look at your phones yourselves. Xiaolong threw his phone in front of Xiao Ben with a humph. Ah, this. Xiao Ben picked up Xiaolong's phone. He didn't know what Xiaolong wanted him to see, so he asked curiously, What do you want me to see? Look at the videos on the phone. Xiaolong humphed. Xiao Ben didn't know what was going on. He opened the video folder in Xiaolong's phone and played the first video. Ah, 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 ah. A woman's moans came from the phone. Xiao Ben and Xiao Ji looked at the video, stunned. In the video, Xiaolong was on top of a woman, moving up and down, and the woman was moaning crazily. This, young Master Kong, you're showing us this. Are you saying that you've fallen in love with another woman and don't like our Xinyan anymore? Xiao Ben didn't understand why Xiaolong wanted him to watch this selfie video. He could only guess. Cough, cough. Not this one. Look at the last one. Xiaolong blushed. This was taken when he was looking for Miss, watching Lin Yi and Wang Xinyan kissing each other every day. Xiaolong couldn't vent his anger, so he vented it on Mississippi. The cameraman was Tiger Right, who liked to take selfies with his phone. Xiaolong didn't mind at the time, but now that Xiao Ben released it, he felt a little awkward. Ugh. Xiao Ben turned off the video and played the last one. In the video, Xiao Ben saw a car parked in front of a villa. The door opened, and Xinyan and a group of people got out of the car and walked into the villa. Xiao Ben saw a few familiar faces in the group, and one of them was Xiao family's biggest enemy, Lin Yi. As for Lin Yi, Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben could only grit their teeth. House Xiao's backers, one after the other, went to Lin Yi's side. From the common house Wu to the hidden house Pai, it was the same. Lin Yi, this video is... Xiao Ben thought for a moment and asked carefully. This villa belongs to Lin Yi. After school, Lin Yi and Xinyan came back to this villa together. I don't need to explain what this means, do I? Xiaolong said with a cold smile. My fiancé is living with another man. What else can I do other than cancel the engagement? Xiaolong came here to make a scene so that he could save his face first. It was completely different whether he started it or not. If he started it first, the Xiao family would try their best to salvage the situation. But if he started it first, he'd look like he was screaming himself hoarse. There must be some kind of misunderstanding, Xiao Ben said. This video shows a group of people going to the villa. Maybe they're there as guests or having a party. What party? A party? Xiaolong glared. That's Lin Yi's villa to begin with. Meng Yao and Yushu live there, and now Xinyan's in there as well. What's the point of having a party? Plus, I saw Xinyan being carried to school by Lin Yi this morning, and she slept the whole morning. Clearly, she didn't sleep at all. What did she do last night? Can you guess? Xiao Ben was stunned, and his face was a little ugly. Although he had already determined something in his heart, he still said, Young Master Kong, don't worry about this. Maybe it's a misunderstanding. Let me go and ask. All right, go get her. I'll wait here. I want to see if there's a misunderstanding or not. Xiaolong sat on the sofa in the living room with a cold smile. Okay, young Master Kong, then you should take a rest first. I'll go find her and ask her about it. Xiao Ben said as he walked into the room. Xiaolong humphed coldly as he watched Xiao Ben leave. He knew that Xiao Ben was trying to get Xinyan to confess, but he didn't care. If Xinyan and Lin Yi were really fine, then he'd continue to force the Xiao family to let Xinyan be with him. If there was something going on between Xinyan and Lin Yi, then he'd force Xinyan to be with him, but he'd dump her after he'd had enough of her. It was a way to humiliate Lin Yi. No matter what, Xiaolong had already thought of a plan on the way here. He wasn't afraid at all. After Xiao Ben entered the room, he quickly called Xiao Qinlin. He was afraid that Wang Xinyan would ignore him and give him a hard time, so he could only contact Wang Xinyan through Xiao Qinlin. Brother, what's up? Xiao Qinlin asked after picking up the phone. Although her relationship with Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben had improved, it was only on the surface. Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben had forced Xinyan to marry Xiaolong, and Xiao Qinlin still held a grudge. Qinlin, Xinyan's in trouble. She's in big trouble. Xiao Ben threatened. House Kong wants to destroy our Xiao family, and they won't let you and Wang Xubin go. Chapter 27-25. Wang Xinyan fooled around with another man and got caught by Xiaolong. Xiao Ben said angrily, Don't you know that House Kong is no longer the same as before? House Kang's Kong Mingming, Xiaolong's brother, is the 8th elder of the ancient sect Sky Elixir. It'd be a piece of cake for him to destroy us. Hurry and ask Xinyan what's going on. Bring her to Xiao family and explain everything. Xinyan. No way, right? Qinlin knew that Xinyan liked Lin Yi, but they'd talked about it before, and Xinyan said that she'd only be friends with Lin Yi. She'd marry Xiaolong after graduation, so Qinlin didn't believe it. There's a misunderstanding, right? Xinyan isn't that kind of girl. Man, I hope it's a misunderstanding too. So hurry and ask her what's going on and bring her here to explain to Xiaolong and calm him down. Xiao Ben said. Xiaolong recorded it with his phone, and Xinyan did walk into Lin Yi's villa. In actuality, Xiaolong never said anything about destroying the Xiao family. Xiao Ben didn't want to lose House Kong, so he made it up to scare Qinlin. Xiaolong only said that he wanted to cancel the engagement, but it'd be a huge loss to Xiao family. How could Xiao Ben agree to that? Okay, I'll ask Xinyan what's going on. Qinlin replied. Xiao Qinlin was successfully fooled. She hung up the call with Xiao Ben and dialed Wang Xinyan's number. Xinyan had just returned to the villa after dinner and was about to drink the medicine Lin Yi had prepared for her when her mother called. She stood up, confused, and turned to Lin Yi, Meng Yao, and Yushu. My mom's on the phone. I'll go take it. Okay, but don't wait too long. The medicine's going to get cold soon. Lin Yi nodded, not thinking too much about it. Xinyan nodded and walked into the bedroom to answer the phone. Mom, Xinyan, where are you? Xiao, Lin asked urgently. Ah, I'm. Xinyan wanted to say Lin Yi's house, but didn't want to. I'm at a classmate's house. Classmate? It's Linny, right? Xiao, Lin's heart skipped a beat. What's wrong? Xinyan could tell that her mother's tone was off. Xinyan, you're really… What did you promise me? Didn't she say that she was going to marry Xiaolong after graduation? Why did he go to Lin Yi's house? You guys are living together? Lin panicked at Xinyan's reply. Did you know that Kong Xiaolong went to the Xiao family today and threatened your second uncle? He's going to destroy the Xiao family, your dad and me. Ah. Xinyan froze as well, her face turning pale. Kong Xiaolong. He went to the Xiao family to look for second uncle? That's right. Lin sighed. Xinyan, tell Mom, is there something between you and Linny? No, he and I are innocent. Nothing happened between us. Xinyan was starting to get scared as well, and she quickly said she didn't have any sense of belonging to the Xiao family, so she didn't care if the Xiao family was destroyed or not. What she was worried about was the safety of her parents, as well as Lin Yi's safety. The Sky Elixir sect was a powerful sect, and if they sent out a Sky-class late-phase peak, they could destroy her and Lin Yi with a flick of their fingers. This was what she had been worried about all this time, so she restrained herself and didn't agree to be Lin Yi's girlfriend. She didn't do anything with Lin Yi either. Otherwise, how could Xinyan be fine sleeping with Lin Yi every day? Really? Lin let out a breath of relief after hearing Xinyan's words. Yes, Xinyan said without hesitation. That's good. Lin was relieved. That's good. Xinyan, I'll drive over to pick you up. Tell me the address, and we'll go to the Xiao family and explain things to Kong Xiaolong. There's nothing going on. Why would I explain things to him? Didn't we say that we'd only get married after graduation? Why is it so troublesome? Xinyan frowned. She felt that this Kong Xiaolong was a little despicable, using all sorts of tricks to threaten her parents. There's nothing we can do. House Kong is very powerful right now. We have no choice but to go, Lin said helplessly. You don't want something to happen to your parents because of this misunderstanding, do you? Then, come to the entrance of the business district. I'll get ready. Xinyan nodded at her mother's words. She couldn't give Kong Xiaolong an excuse to get angry over something like this, could she? All right, I'll be right there, Lin said. Xinyan sighed after hanging up. She knew that she might not be able to stay in Lin Yi's villa anymore. If she did, Kong Xiaolong wouldn't let her off easily. She really didn't want to move away. She calmed herself down and walked out of the bedroom. Seeing that Lin Yi and the others weren't paying attention to her, Xinyan pretended to be nonchalant. Yao, Lin Yi, my mom's here. She's at the entrance of the business district. I'll be back in a bit. Oh, go on then. Be careful. Do you need me to send you? Lin Yi didn't think much of it. It's fine, it's not too late. I'll leave after drinking the medicine. Xinyan picked up the medicine on the table and drank it all in one gulp. She waved goodbye to Lin Yi and the others and quickly left the villa. Lin rushed to the business district to pick up Xinyan and rushed to Xiao family's villa. Xinyan, why did you go to Lin Yi's house? Isn't that giving Xiaolong something to use against you? Lin said helplessly as she drove. Mom, I'm just there as a guest. Xinyan whispered. Hey, you're Xiaolong's fiancé now. Don't you know how to avoid arousing suspicion? It'd be fine if it were any other time, but Xiaolong's in your class now. You're too close to Lin Yi. He won't be happy if he sees you. Lin advised. Since you're planning to marry Xiaolong after graduation, don't make him unhappy with these details. Otherwise, you'll fight with him after marriage. Chapter 27-26. If Lin Yi really couldn't reach that level, then she'd kill herself on the night of their wedding. Xiaolong wouldn't be able to vent his anger on anyone else if she died. Qinlin looked at Xinyan, knowing that she was still against the idea of marrying Xiaolong. But time was pressing, and she didn't say much. She'd deal with the current situation first. They arrived at the Xiao family's villa, and Qinlin brought Xinyan into the living room to see Xiaolong sitting on the sofa with a pale face. "Xinyan, you're here. Hurry up and tell Xiaolong what's going on, all right?" Xiao Ben said as he gave Xinyan a look, telling her not to piss Xiaolong off. "What do you want me to say?" Xinyan glared at Xiaolong, a little angered. She felt that it was embarrassing for him to keep this up. "What do I want to say?" Xiaolong's face softened when he saw Xinyan. After all, he didn't really want to break off the engagement. He just wanted to scare the Xiao family, so his attitude toward Xinyan was a lot better. "You went to Lin Yi's house, and he carried you to school in the morning. What do you want to say?" "I went to play with Yao Yao and Shu," Xinyan explained. She didn't want to, but she didn't want to go against Xiaolong. She didn't want her parents and Lin Yi to be threatened. "Play with them? From what I know, they're not medicine majors, and you didn't even know them in high school. How are you going to play with them if you don't know them?" Xiaolong asked. "I met them through Lin Yi." Xinyan didn't hide it. She couldn't hide it, and Xiaolong would know even if she didn't say it. She told the truth. "I met them, and we got along quite well. I stayed with them." "So you're saying that you and Lin, you don't have that kind of relationship?" Xiaolong frowned. "Of course not," Xinyan said. "I said that I wouldn't do something like that if I married you after graduation. You can say whatever you want, but you don't have any proof. How about this? I can believe you if you want, but we have to test to see if you are a virgin. If you are, then I will believe what you said." Xiaolong said this was why he was here. No matter what the Xiao family and Xinyan said, it wasn't as important as the actual test. "How?" Xinyan looked at Xiaolong cautiously. "You're not going to tell me that you're going to do it yourself, are you?" I. Xiaolong really did want to say that, but Xinyan was looking at him with disdain. He couldn't bring himself to say it. "How is that possible? Do I look like such a dirty person to you? I mean, let's go to the hospital for a checkup." "Why should I?" Xinyan felt that Xiaolong's request was too much. She felt humiliated. "Nothing. I just want to prove your innocence." Xiaolong said, "I'll do the checkup with you before we get married." "What's with the checkup now?" Xinyan didn't want to agree to Xiaolong's unreasonable request. Qinlin talked to Xinyan. "If she's really a virgin, we won't be afraid of the checkup. Master Kong will be relieved after the checkup," Xiao Ben persuaded. Qinlin didn't have a choice. She pulled Xinyan to the side and whispered, "Xinyan, tell me the truth. Are you still a virgin?" "Of course I am." Xinyan felt hurt. Why didn't her mother believe her anymore? "If that's the case, then let's go for a checkup. Otherwise, this won't end so easily," Qinlin persuaded. "All right, I agree." Xinyan clenched her teeth, tears falling uncontrollably. She felt wronged and wronged. Why did she have to marry Xiaolong? Why did he have to say whatever he wanted? Why was she so unlucky? Why did she become a sacrifice for her family? She was born into a Xiao family that didn't bring her much happiness or enjoyment, and yet she had to carry more pressure and burden than anyone else. Xinyan felt dizzy, angry, and tired. Her vision darkened, and she fell to the ground. "Xinyan, what's wrong?" Qinlin paled at the sight of Xinyan fainting. Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben's expressions changed as well. They didn't care about Xinyan's life or death. They only cared about Xinyan's marriage and House Kang's support for the Xiao family. They couldn't allow anything to happen to Xinyan. Xiaolong froze as well. This Xinyan couldn't take a blow, could she? Why did she faint after a few sentences? Wasn't it just a checkup to see if she was a virgin? Was it necessary? Was she guilty? Get her to the hospital and check if she's a virgin, Xiaolong said, not forgetting to add on to his previous request. And so, Qinlin quickly carried Xinyan and carried her to the car outside the villa, heading straight to Donghai's first hospital. Xiaolong sat in right Panhu's car and followed behind, followed by Xiao, Ji, and Xiaoben's car. Donghai's first hospital had shares in both Wang Shubin and House Kang's shares. Both sides didn't have a lot of shares, but they were both hospitals they trusted, so Xiaolong wasn't worried about the hospital cheating. After all, this hospital was very legitimate, and with House Kang's shares, Wang Shubin wouldn't be able to influence the results of the checkup. Xinyan was given a full-body checkup, and the result was that she wasn't sick. Her body was just weak, and she fainted because she was short of breath. She didn't have any illness. As for whether she was a virgin or not, the checkup was also done. The result was that Xinyan was still a virgin. This result put Xiaolong at ease, and he stopped making a fuss. He still looked down on Lin Yi a little. They were living in the same villa, and he really went to play with Meng Yao and Yushu. Did Lin Yi really not get what he wanted? From the looks of it, the results of the checkup couldn't be fake. But Xinyan fainted all of a sudden, and Xiaolong was a little worried. When would she wake up? Xiaolong planned to apologize to Xinyan when she woke up. After all, the checkup showed that she was still a virgin. He really did wrong her. Chapter 27:27. If he succeeded, it would be the heaviest blow to Lin Yi. Xiaolong wasn't afraid of Lin Yi anymore, so he dared to go against Lin Yi face to face. At night, Lin Yi didn't see Xinyan come back. He was curious and called her, wanting to ask if she was coming back to sleep tonight. Lin Yi was about to hang up when a man's voice came from the other side of the phone. Lin Yi, why are you calling Xinyan? Xiaolong heard Xinyan's phone ringing, so he took it out from her backpack and saw that it was Lin Yi calling. He was pissed. The test results showed that Xinyan was still a virgin, but Xiaolong felt that Lin Yi had other intentions towards her. Xiaolong. Lin Yi paused when he heard Xiaolong's voice. Why is it you? Where's Xinyan? Xinyan is with me, of course. We're sleeping together tonight. You don't have to worry about her. Xiaolong said coldly and hung up. Hello. Lin Yi didn't think that Xiaolong would hang up without even giving him a chance to speak. But why was Xinyan with Xiaolong? Didn't she go out with her mother? Could it be that Xinyan went to find Xiaolong and lied to him that she was going to find her mother? Lin Yi shook his head at the thought. Xinyan wasn't a girl who was good at lying, and there was no reason for her to lie to him. Could it be that Xiaolong kidnapped her? Otherwise, why would Xinyan's phone be in Xiaolong's hands? Lin Yi dialed Xinyan's phone again, but it only rang twice before it was hung up. Xiaolong probably didn't want to answer Lin Yi's call. Lin Yi frowned. He wanted to call Xinyan's mother, Xiao Qinlin, but remembered that Xinyan went out with her and was with Xiaolong right now. Would Madame Wang tell him about Xinyan's whereabouts if he called her? Lin Yi had no choice but to call a number he hadn't called in a long time. The call connected, but the person on the other side was silent. Lin Yi didn't speak, and neither did the person on the other side. Princess? Lin Yi asked, testing the waters. Do you need something or to chat? Hacker Princess complained. If you need something, I'll hang up. If you want to chat, I'll chat with you for a bit. Ugh. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly at the princess words. He'd contacted her to locate Wang Xinyan, but the princess was clearly pissed at him. He'd contacted her once when he was looking for Guan Xan, but he hadn't contacted her since. It was no wonder she wasn't happy. Okay, heroing, Brother E, tell me, what do you need? Hacker Princess knew that Lin Yi must have something important to talk to her about, so she didn't continue to throw a tantrum and asked directly. Help me locate a phone number, Lin Yi said. The number is... Oh. The sound of typing came from Hacker Princess's side. After a while, Hacker Princess said, At Donghai City's first hospital. Hospital? Lin Yi froze. Why was Xinyan at the hospital? It seemed that Kong Mingming's words couldn't be trusted. There must be something hidden here. Yeah. Hacker Princess said. It's fine if you don't believe me. Who said, I don't believe you. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. I believe you. You. It's been so many years since you came back to see me and Sister Seven. Hacker Princess's voice was a little bitter. Forget it. You go back to your work. Lin Yi had his reasons as well. Ever since his Shifu left, he'd followed his Shifu's instructions. Other than learning from old Lin in West Star Mountain, he'd been training outside. He hadn't really rested all these years, and he hadn't really taken a break until this last mission. As a result, he hadn't gone back to Island X yet. The princess's words reminded him of his childhood. He had 2 followers in his training team, Xiao Qi and Hacker Princess. It seemed that he should find some time to go back and see them. It's fine. Go back to your work. Hacker Princess smiled as if she didn't care, but Lin Yi could hear the hope and expectation in her tone. After a while, I will go back. Lin Yi wouldn't make promises easily, but this time he gave a promise. For Hacker Princess, Lin Yi didn't know what kind of attitude he should have when they met again. When he was young, Xiao Qi and the princess could be regarded as childhood sweethearts. Over the years, from the tone of Hacker Princess's phone call, Lin Yi could feel that Hacker Princess had a good impression of him. However, this good impression might disappear after the 2 met. The feelings in his childhood became a permanent memory with the growth of age and the passage of time. In the past, Lin Yi once thought that he would keep taking missions and doing missions in his life until one day, when he was old, he would adopt a child like old Lin and repeat his life. At this time, Lin Yi also didn't want to face feelings the most because he knew that his job could cost him his life at any time. Feelings were just a luxury for him. However, after coming to Songshan City, Lin Yi's life trajectory changed. It didn't seem to be what he imagined. He gradually had his own life, so Lin Yi accepted Yuning. And now, when he faced Hacker Princess again, Lin Yi finally found that he could face her directly. However, he was worried that the feelings of childhood would no longer exist. When they meet again, they would become ordinary friends. Meeting is not as good as reminiscing. However, even so, this matter can't always be avoided. There must be an end. Childhood sweethearts can only stay in childhood memories. Hacker Princess was slightly stunned. She didn't expect Lin Yi to say this. In the past, Lin Yi never mentioned coming back. However, before Hacker Princess could say anything, Lin Yi had already hung up. Lin Yi was worried about Wang Xinyan's situation, so he didn't greet Hacker Princess. He said goodbye to Chu Mengyao and left the villa, rushing to the first hospital of Donghai City. Chapter 27-28. Wang Xinyan's room was a super large ICU, and the outer room was for family members to rest. Lin Yi walked in and everyone froze. Lin Yi, why are you here? Xiaolong didn't expect Lin Yi to come and wondered how Lin Yi found his way here. Wang Xinyan's sick, so I can't come? Lin Yi looked at Xiaolong and walked into the inner room. Wait, don't go in. Xiaolong stood in front of Lin Yi, trying to stop him from entering the inner room. What's wrong with you? Lin Yi looked at Xiaolong. I'm here to visit a classmate. Do I need your permission? You. Xiaolong didn't expect Lin Yi to be so domineering. He just told Lin Yi about Kong Mingming. Why wasn't Lin Yi afraid at all? Go away. Lin Yi grabbed Xiaolong by the collar and dragged him to the side. He pushed the door open and walked into Wang Xinyan's room. You. Xiaolong was furious. He turned to Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben, wanting them to say something, but the 2 of them were avoiding his gaze. They hated Lin Yi, but they couldn't afford to piss off Lin Yi. Lin Yi didn't even give a damn about Xiaolong, so wouldn't they be humiliated if they went up to him? Xiaolong saw that Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben were cowards, and he had no choice but to follow Lin Yi into the room. He saw Lin Yi grabbing Wang Xinyan's hand, and his eyes were spitting fire. He ran over and pushed Lin Yi's hand away. Lin Yi, don't go too far. Wang Xinyan is my fiancé. This is something the Xiao family has acknowledged. What right do you have to interfere? Let me tell you, I'm not a pushover. Our Kong family is no longer the old Kong family. My younger brother, Kong Mingming, is now the 8th elder of the Heavenly Elixir School, an ancient sect. 8th elder? I'll give you a slap. Lin Yi was checking Xin Yan's body when Zhao Long interrupted him. He was furious and slapped Zhao Long's face. You dare hit me? Zhao Long looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. Aren't you afraid that my brother will deal with you? You want to compare ancient background with me? I'm not afraid to tell you that my little wife is the future palace master of the Ice Palace. You have the background of an ancient sect, but who doesn't? Don't bring that up all the time. Go find him if you can. Lin Yi said coldly. There was a limit to his patience. This Zhao Long was usually very active, and Lin Yi didn't want to have a direct conflict with the Heavenly Elixir School, so he didn't bother with him. But today, Xin Yan fainted out of nowhere, and Lin Yi didn't believe that it had nothing to do with Zhao Long. Ugh. Zhao Long suddenly remembered Xiao Xiao, the girl who almost set him up when he ate with her last time. His mouth twitched. He knew about Xiao Xiao's situation, but he didn't think about it before. Now he finally understood why Lin Yi wasn't afraid. He found himself a good wife. His brother was an elder, but his wife was the vice palace master, the future palace master. Her background wasn't any weaker than his. Why did Xin Yan faint? Was it because of you? Lin Yi frowned. Xin Yan's body condition was a little better than it had been yesterday, especially after the potion. She was still weak, but fainting shouldn't have been the cause of her fainting. It had to be something else. Zhao Long didn't expect Lin Yi to be so good, seeing through the cause of Xin Yan's fainting so quickly. It was a misunderstanding. Lin Yi was just guessing, but he had a guilty conscience. He thought that Lin Yi had confirmed it. You really did it? Lin Yi was even more certain after seeing Zhao Long's reaction. His face darkened. I didn't. I saw Xin Yan with you, so I went to the Xiao family. Is that wrong? She's my fiancée. Zhao Long was a little scared now. Using Kong Mingming's background to scare Lin Yi didn't work. He was a little scared now. Slap. Lin Yi slapped Zhao Long's face, knocking him to the ground. Oh, I didn't like you, so I knocked you out. What's wrong with that? Zhao Long didn't hear Lin Yi's last sentence. If he did, he'd probably faint again. Lin Yi carried Xin Yan and walked out of the room. Xin Yan's body was fine, and there was no point in staying here. It was better to bring her back. With Zhao Long unconscious, Lin Yi carried Xin Yan out of the room under the shocked eyes of Xiao Ji, Xiao Ben, and Xiao Qinlin. Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben pouted, wanting to say something, but didn't dare. They watched as Lin Yi left, not daring to say anything. Xiao Qinlin, on the other hand, just sighed faintly, wondering if she had done something wrong. She shouldn't have forced her daughter to marry Zhao Long. But if she didn't let Xin Yan marry Zhao Long, what would happen to the Xiao family? What would happen to her and her husband's medicine company? Zhao Long's background wasn't to be underestimated. But now it seemed like Lin Yi wasn't afraid of Zhao Long at all. After Zhao Long exposed his background, he still dared to knock Zhao Long out. Was Lin Yi being impulsive, or was he confident? Qinlin wasn't sure about the pros and cons of this. It seemed like Xin Yan liked being with him, didn't she? As Xin Yan's mother, Qinlin naturally wanted her daughter to be happy. Her heart was leaning towards Lin Yi, but she didn't know if Lin Yi was a match for House Kong. And so, Qinlin didn't stop them. She left with Lin Yi and her daughter. Zhao Long had fainted, and his fiancée was taken away by someone else. He couldn't blame anyone else. Lin Yi drove Xin Yan back to the villa. Xin Yan had fainted and hadn't woken up yet, so Lin Yi didn't want to carry her and train. He asked Meng Yao and Yushu to help her change into her pajamas and slept upstairs. It was a quiet night. The next morning, Lin Yi was preparing breakfast when he saw Meng Yao, Yushu, and Xin Yan come downstairs together. Xin Yan wasn't sleeping. This situation surprised Lin. He was used to Xinyan sleeping all the way till noon, so he was surprised to see her wake up so early in the morning. Xinyan, you're up? Lin Yi asked. Yeah. Xinyan nodded shyly. But I'm still a little sleepy. I don't have much energy, but I'm up now. Chapter 27-29. It had to be the medicine, but Xinyan drank it every day, and it didn't seem to get any better. How come today? Lin Yi walked over and held Xinyan's wrist, checking it carefully. But Lin Yi let out a surprised after inspecting it. Xinyan seemed to be in a good condition today. She was still weak compared to a normal person, but much better than yesterday. It would be a good sign if this continued. What's wrong? Lin Yi? Lin Yi surprised Xinyan. Is there a problem? Nothing. Just a little better than yesterday. Lin Yi said, let's eat breakfast. Yeah, okay. Xinyan was happy to hear that her condition was better. She sat at the table. Right. What happened between you and Xiaolong yesterday? Lin Yi hadn't asked Xinyan about what happened yesterday. Yesterday? Xinyan was embarrassed and didn't know what to say. Shoo, tell me. Meng Yao could tell that Xinyan was a little shy, so she said to Yushu. She'd already told Yushu about Xinyan's situation this morning, so she only needed Yushu to relay it to her. Oh, actually that idiot Xiaolong saw Xinyan's sis enter the villa and suspected that she wasn't a virgin. He went to the Xiao family and made a scene, wanting to take her to the hospital for a checkup. Xinyan was so embarrassed and angry that she fainted, Yushu said. Lin Yi was speechless. Lin Yi didn't know what to say about Xiaolong's actions. But thinking about it, Xinyan was his fiancée, so it was reasonable for him to make such a request. I knocked him out too, so it's a draw. Ah. Xinyan was shocked. She didn't know that Xiaolong was knocked out by Lin Yi. How did Lin Yi get into a fight with Xiaolong? She thought that her mother had brought her home after she fainted yesterday, but Lin Yi had knocked Xiaolong out instead. Did he snatch me back? It's fine, don't worry. Even if the Sky Elixir sect is an ancient sect, they wouldn't stand up for Kong Mingming over something as small as this. Lin Yi comforted her with a smile. Oh. Xinyan nodded and started eating, but she was still a little worried. She was afraid that he was just trying to comfort her. Actually, Lin Yi wasn't worried at all. As far as Lin Yi was concerned, Kong Xiaolong wasn't even as strong as Zhong Pingliang. As long as he didn't kill him, the Heavenly Elixir sect wouldn't stand up for him so easily. At most, Kong Mingming would bring a Sky-class master over, and Lin Yi could assassinate him. If that didn't work, there was still a trap. After a while, Han Jingjing also arrived, and everyone stopped talking about this topic. After breakfast, everyone left the villa and went to school. What surprised Lin Yi was that Xiaolong didn't come to school today. The 2 slaps that Lin Yi gave him yesterday weren't that heavy, and it couldn't have caused too much damage to Xiaolong, so he didn't come to school because of the slaps. In fact, Xiaolong didn't come today because he felt embarrassed. After he woke up, he didn't say goodbye to Xiao Ji, Xiao Ben, or Xiao Qinlin. He stormed out of the ward and went straight to House Kong. He wanted to call Kong Mingming and ask for his help. Xiaolong felt that he had lost a lot of face this time. He had to find a way to get back at him. Bro, why are you calling me in the morning? Aren't you in school? Kong Mingming was a little surprised to receive the call from Xiaolong, but he wasn't as guarded against Xiaolong as before. In the past, the 2 of them were fighting for the position of young master of House Kong, but now Kong Mingming didn't care about that position anymore. Their relationship had returned to normal. Xiaolong, your brother has lost a lot of face this time. You have to help me. Xiaolong said and told Kong Mingming everything that happened yesterday in detail. Kong Mingming listened to Xiaolong's words and fell silent. He was angry, but he knew that it wasn't realistic for him to leave the Sky Elixir sect and go after Lin Yi. Although he was a Sky-class master, he was just a refiner. He didn't have any attacking abilities. He didn't think that he could do anything to Lin Yi. As for bringing a master out, Kong Ming knew that he hadn't established himself in the Sky Elixir sect yet to receive such treatment. Although he appeared to be very strong and powerful to the outside world, that was only to the outside world. Within the Heavenly Elixir sect, although he had become the 8th elder, he did not have his own people. He was just an elder without any followers. He was respected by others, but he could not order others to do things. Bro, what do you want me to do about this? I'm so far away from you. There's nothing I can do to help you. Kong Ming Ming hesitated and said, I'm a newbie in the Sky Elixir sect. I'm an elder, but I can't leave easily. Even if I leave, can I help you teach Lin a lesson? Aye. Xiaolong calmed down after listening to Kong Ming Ming's words, but he didn't want to give up. Then can't you bring a Sky Class Master to scare Lin-Yi? Not a Sky Class late phase peak. Even a Sky Class mid phase is fine. Bro, do you think it's that easy to mobilize a Sky Class Master? I may be an elder, but I don't have my own followers. Besides, Sky Class Masters usually only listen to the elders, the head, the young master, and the grand elder. The other elders can only mobilize Earth Class disciples. They don't have the authority to mobilize Sky Class Masters. Kong Ming Ming smiled bitterly and explained, Bro, don't you understand? You can use the Sky Elixir sect's name, but it's too early for me to give you any real support. I don't have that ability yet. I understand. Xiaolong was a little dejected. No wonder Lin-Yi wasn't afraid of him. Perhaps Lin-Yi had predicted this from the start. But it was no wonder that Lin-Yi's mistress was the vice sect master of the Ice Palace. The rules in the ancient sects were probably the same, so it wasn't surprising that Lin-Yi knew about it. Chapter 2730. Most elders of the Sky Elixir sect had their own pride. Even if they respected Sky Silkworm, they wouldn't run around like a servant. So, Kong Ming Ming decided to become a lackey for Sky Silkworm as an elder in exchange for their support. Then he'd be able to bring people to deal with Lin-Yi. That was his ultimate goal. This was the only way for him to rise to the top. Otherwise, he'd have to stay in the Sky Elixir sect for dozens of years to raise his own people. All right. Xiaolong sighed. Bro, don't worry too much. I can't go, but I'm good at picking up girls. Kong Ming Ming said, I feel that there's no need for conflict between you and Lin-Yi. As long as you don't go against him, he won't hit you for no reason, right? Then yesterday, Xiaolong said, you left the school yesterday, and it was you who made Xinyan faint. It's normal for Lin-Yi to hit you. Kong Ming Ming said, but if you were in school, Lin-Yi wouldn't go overboard. You just need to chase Xinyan. If he dares to cause trouble for you, tell the teacher and boss bye. Tell the teacher? Kong Ming Ming sweated. He wasn't an elementary schooler anymore. Why would he tell the teacher after getting hit? But thinking about how Boss Bai didn't like conflicts between students, it was the most appropriate thing for him to do. Xiaolong nodded. That's true. You'll have to start with Xinyan. You're always going against Lin-Yi, and it's hard for me. Kong Ming Ming said helplessly. After the excitement of becoming the 8th elder, Kong Ming Ming realized that the 8th elder was just a name. It was enough to scare people, but it wasn't enough to help Xiaolong teach Lin-Yi a lesson. So, use my name to scare people. But I used your name to scare Lin-Yi yesterday, but Lin-Yi wasn't scared at all. He even said that his wife is the future leader of the Ice Palace, who doesn't have an ancient background. Xiaolong said helplessly. It wasn't that he didn't want to use the tiger skin, but Lin-Yi could do it too. What Xiaolong didn't know was that Lin-Yi didn't usually mention Xiao to people. It wasn't because of his pride, but because of his pain, a goal that he worked hard for. He only brought it up in front of Xiaolong because he didn't have a choice. He didn't want to start a conflict with the Sky Elixir sect, so he limited the conflict to House Kong. With Xiao around, he believed that Kong Ming Ming wouldn't dare do anything rash. As expected, Kong Ming Ming fell silent after hearing about this. I would have forgotten about this if you didn't mention it. If the Ice Palace were to interfere, I wouldn't be able to teach Lin Yi a lesson. I don't know the relationship between the Sky Elixir sect and the Ice Palace, but they don't seem to be on good terms at first, but lately they seem to be getting along. What do you mean? Zhao Long didn't understand, but he didn't really care about ancient matters. Never mind, they're fine. You can't come and teach Lin Yi a lesson for now. I'll think of something else first. Zhao Long didn't know what to say. Don't worry too much. I'm trying to find a backer for House Kong. Once I get my hands on silkworm transformation, we'll be strong. I wonder if he's gay or not. Kong Ming Ming thought evilly. Yes, Zhao Ming, House Kong is counting on you. Zhao Long remembered that it was Kong Zhao Ming who had helped him establish the hidden house of Yu. He suddenly felt that his brother wasn't an idiot. At the very least, he was much better than him in terms of dirty tricks. Lin Yi was puzzled by Xin Yan's behavior today. Xin Yan yawned, but she didn't fall asleep. She drank her medicine every day, but why wasn't she sleeping today? At noon, Xin Yan received a call from her mother, Xiao Qinlin. Xin Yan had been wanting to call her mother since morning, but Lin Yi had snatched her back in front of her mother yesterday. She didn't know how to bring it up to her mother, but Lin Yi had snatched her back in front of her mother yesterday. Now that her mother was calling, Xin Yan had no choice but to answer. Mom. Xin Yan said carefully. Xin Yan, are you all right? Xiao Qinlin had mixed feelings and didn't know what to say. I'm fine, Mom. I'm sorry. Xin Yan didn't know why she was apologizing. She didn't even know what she was apologizing for. Xin Yan, don't worry too much. You have your own path to choose. Your dad and I talked about it last night, and if things don't work out, we'll shut down the company and find a place to hide. The Sky Elixir sect might not be able to find us. Xiao Qinlin didn't say it out loud, but Xin Yan understood what her mother was trying to say. Xin Yan's tears welled up in an instant. Sadness, helplessness, or joy. Xin Yan had mixed feelings at this moment. Her mother finally understood her. But how could Xin Yan bear to let them live a life of hiding? The company was her father's blood, sweat, and tears. How could he just shut it down like that? Wang Xinyan didn't want her parents to compromise because of her. Mom, it's okay. I'll talk to Kong Xiaolong and tell him to stop harassing you guys. I'll marry him when I graduate too. Xinyan took a deep breath. She didn't change her mind. After graduation, Lin Yi would either be stronger than the Sky Elixir sect, or he'd leave quietly, or he'd live in seclusion with her parents again. Either way, she couldn't let her parents hide because of her. That wasn't something she wanted to see. All right, think about it. Call me when you've made your decision. I'll support you, Xiao Qinlin said. Okay, thank you, Mom. Xinyan sighed in relief. In the afternoon, Lin Yi could tell that Xinyan's mood was a lot better than before. After Lin Yi gave her the medicine, she walked into Lin Yi's room to help Lin Yi with his training. That night, Wang Xinyan slept peacefully. The next morning, however, something strange happened that startled Lin Yi. At the same time, Lin Yi started to wonder about something. Chapter 27:31. From the current situation, Lin Yi could confirm one thing. Xinyan's lethargy had something to do with him. Xinyan didn't have this lethargy problem in the past, not even when she was in high school, not even when she was in university. It only started when she started living in the villa. He'd be training with Xinyan in his arms every night, and she'd start to get lethargic, and it was getting worse and worse. This continued until the night he went to the tomb, when he didn't sleep with Xinyan. The next day, Xinyan went to school like normal, and it was the same yesterday. Xinyan was back to normal when he didn't train with her in his arms. These messy thoughts connected all the clues together, and Lin Yi came to a conclusion. Xinyan's illness was caused by his training. In other words, the fragrance on Sinyan's body was a necessity for her to survive, and now that he'd sucked it away, Sinyan's body was rapidly weakening. She'd become listless and had to rely on forced sleep to replenish her energy. Sleep was an important part of the body's self-protection system. A third of a person's life was spent sleeping, and when Sinyan ran out of stamina, she relied on sleep to replenish her energy. He didn't connect all of this together, but today he was sure that this great way of training was actually harming Sinyan. But training wasn't as important as Sinyan's health. Lin-Yi would rather level up slowly than let anything happen to Sinyan, and so Lin-Yi decided that he wouldn't use Sinyan to train anymore. It was a difficult decision. In the morning, Lin-Yi carried Sinyan to school, and he bumped into Xiaolong at the door. He was at school today. Lin-Yi, what are you doing? Why is Sinyan unconscious again? What did you do to her? Xiaolong wanted to keep a low profile, but seeing Lin-Yi carrying Sinyan, he couldn't keep a low profile anymore. A surge of anger rose in his heart. Isn't it because of you? Lin-Yi said coldly as he looked at Xiaolong. What? Xiaolong choked on Lin-Yi's words. How is that possible? Don't lie to me. I've already asked around. Sinyan was perfectly fine yesterday, waking up and coming to school. How could she have gotten mad at me? It's relapsed, Lin-Yi said. You. Xiaolong was speechless at Lin-Yi's words, but he didn't have a reason to retort. He walked back to his seat and sat down. Lin-Yi put Sinyan on a chair and took out a book, but he wasn't in the mood to read it. His mind was on Sinyan's problem. Sinyan's body could release a fragrance that was useful for training, and if he absorbed too much of it, Sinyan would become weak. But here came the problem. Didn't Sinyan emit her own fragrance? Was there no loss? Or could it be that the normal loss was within an acceptable range, and his training sped up the loss of Sinyan's fragrance? Lin-Yi had never come across a situation like this. He planned to ask Boss Bai later. After class, Lin-Yi went to find Boss Bai directly. You're looking for me because of Sinyan's constitution, right? Seeing Lin-Yi pulling him aside in a hurry, Boss Bai knew that Lin-Yi had a secret to talk about. Let's not talk about constitution for now. Master Bai, I have something more important to talk to you about. Lin-Yi said, Sinyan has been sleeping a lot lately. You've seen it, right? Yes, what's wrong? Boss Bai looked at Lin-Yi strangely. Isn't it because you and her were too late? Lin-Yi sweated at Boss Bai's words. Master Bai, what are you thinking? There's nothing going on between Sinyan and I. I think there's another reason why she's sleeping. Another reason? What do you mean? You mean there's something wrong with her body? Boss Bai was someone who knew medicine, after all. He figured out the key point immediately and asked. You could put it that way. It's a long story. Lin-Yi told Boss Bai about how he found the special scent on Wang Xinyan's body during the military training and how he could use it to train. Now that Lin-Yi was treating Boss Bai as his other master, he didn't hide anything from him. Oh, Wang Xinyan has this ability? Boss Bai was a little surprised. Could it be because of her special constitution? It has something to do with her constitution? What kind of constitution is it? Lin-Yi was dazed and asked quickly. I don't know what her constitution is exactly, but according to my research in the ancient books, this phenomenon should be caused by the test bead that can't recognize her constitution. Boss Bai said, this kind of constitution should be a special constitution beyond the 5 elements. This kind of special case is extremely rare. Oh, special constitution? After hearing Boss Bai's words, Lin-Yi couldn't help but be a bit shocked. There are special constitutions beyond the 5 elements? Yes, there are some special constitutions, but they are relatively rare among cultivators. Most of them exist among spirit beasts, whose attributes are beyond the 5 elements. Boss Bai said, for example, wind, thunder, healing, and so on. These are special existences among spirit beasts, not the cultivators of the 5 elements. I see. Lin nodded, but he did think of the purple lightning beast. It should be a spirit beast of the wind attribute. As for Sun Jingyi, he didn't know if she also had a special constitution beyond the 5 elements. Her mental cultivation method was also very special, so she shouldn't be a cultivator within the 5 elements. So, Wang Xinyan's situation that you mentioned should be the manifestation of this special constitution. I don't know the details, but you gave me a general direction. I will pay attention. Boss Bai said, the most important thing now is to stop using the fragrance on her to train. Let's see how it goes. Yes, that's what I've decided. Lin nodded. Then I'll leave the rest to you, Mr. Bai. Hee, it's no trouble. I'm your teacher. It's my duty to answer your questions. Boss Bai laughed. Chapter 2732. He and Lin walked back to the classroom together. This made Yupanhu very jealous. He was envious that Lin could receive personal guidance from Boss Bai. Heavenly Elixir faction. Kong Mingming had just become the 8th elder and refined the bone and marrow washing pill. This was supposed to be a happy event, but something big happened. Xianzhen ancestor failed to refine the bone and marrow washing pill. Impossible. How is this possible? With my alchemy skills, how could I fail? Xianzhen ancestor furrowed his brows as he looked at the black ashes in the cauldron. He couldn't understand why Kong Xiaoming, who he taught, could concoct the bone and marrow cleansing pill. Why couldn't he do it? However, after the second attempt, Xianzhen ancestor gave up. It was still a failure. This meant that it wasn't because of his mistake. It was because he couldn't refine it. Could it be that the bone and marrow washing pill that Kong Mingming refined had no effect on him? Xianzhen ancestor had no choice. He could only give Kong Mingming a large amount of true qi replenishing treasures and let him refine another bone and marrow washing pill. As expected by Xianzhen ancestor, Kong Xiaoming succeeded. Although the quality wasn't that great, it was a success. This time, Xianzhen ancestor witnessed the whole process. It was no different from when he refined the pill. However, Kong Mingming succeeded and Xianzhen ancestor failed. Something is wrong. There must be something wrong with this pill formula. Although Xianzhen ancestor didn't find the problem with the pill formula. After thinking about it, he could only attribute the problem to the pill formula. Otherwise, why was Kong Mingming able to refine the bone and marrow washing pill, but he couldn't? However, he was sure that Kong Xiaoming had indeed refined a marrow and bone cleansing pill. After consuming it, the effect was exactly the same as the one recorded in the ancient books. Xianzhen ancestor could feel it. This time, the bone and marrow washing pill wasn't consumed by Xianzhen ancestor. Instead, it was sent away carefully. However, Xianzhen ancestor didn't give up and called Kong Mingming over. Zhao Ming, tell me in detail. Where did this pill formula come from? Xianzhen ancestor didn't know the origin of this pill formula. He didn't think much about it before, but now that he failed, he wanted to ask about it. This pill formula is... Kong Mingming didn't dare hide anything. He told Xianzhen ancestor about the kidnapping of Guan Xian and Lin extorting the formula. Although it wasn't honorable, it wasn't a secret. Even if Kong Mingming didn't say it, Xian ancestor could get the answer from Sky Dan ancestor. What? Lin gave you this pill formula. Xianzhen ancestor's eyes widened. He couldn't believe it. The conflict between Xianzhen ancestor and Lin a few days ago couldn't be hidden from Xianzhen ancestor. Xianzhen ancestor was quite dissatisfied with what Little One and Little 11 did. But fortunately, Boss Bai and his disciple Lin were fine. Even Han Jingjing returned to the classroom alive and well. This made Xianzhen ancestor sigh in relief. Yes, could it be that this pill formula is fake? Kong Mingming more or less guessed the truth from Xianzhen ancestor's tone and what happened before. I can't say it's fake, but there should be a problem. Xianzhen ancestor said. Lin Yi is big is Boss Bai's disciple. Then it's very likely that this pill formula was given to him by Boss Bai, or rather, Boss Bai changed it and gave it to him. Although this pill formula can be used to refine the bone and marrow cleansing pill, after taking it, you can't refine other bone and marrow cleansing pills. Do you understand what I mean? Xianzhen ancestor didn't know that Lin Yi only knew Boss Bai when he was in university, so he thought that Lin Yi knew Boss Bai a long time ago. Naturally, he attributed the source of the pill formula to Boss Bai. I understand. So you failed, and only I can refine it? Although Kong Mingming was surprised, he was overjoyed. What did it mean to be a rare commodity? If he was the only one who could refine the marrow and bone remodeling Dan, then his status in the heavenly elixir school would rise. At that time, whoever needed this Dan could only beg him to refine it. In this way, he would become a very important person. You can say that. Xianzhen ancestor nodded. So, I will give you a mission. Since you know Lin Yi, when you have time, go back and visit him. Tell him the flaws of this pill formula, and then try to exchange for the real pill formula. You can use other good things to exchange for it. If you really can't get it, then contact me. Xianzhen ancestors' way of doing things was completely different from Xianzhen ancestors. Xianzhen ancestors' first thought was to rob, but Xianzhen ancestor thought of equivalent exchange. If he couldn't get it back, he was prepared to put down his pride and personally call Boss Bai to ask for the pill formula. Of course, this was something he would only do if he really couldn't do it. He wasn't as thick-skinned as Xianzhen ancestor, so this was his last resort. As for why he needed the pill formula for the bone and marrow cleansing pill, it was because this pill formula was too important. Not only was it effective for the inheritors of the ethereal attribute, it was also very useful for ordinary cultivators. This thing was much stronger than the foundation building pill. The foundation building pill was actually a branch of the bone and marrow cleansing pill. It was also used to refine one's physique, but it wasn't as powerful as the bone and marrow cleansing pill. Therefore, as long as a cultivator took the bone and marrow cleansing pill, they could improve their physique and speed up their cultivation. This was a really good thing. If an ordinary person ate it, it could prolong their lifespan. If a cultivator ate it, it could strengthen their physique. If this thing was refined, it would definitely be in short supply in the cultivator's market square. The reason why ancestor Xianzhen wanted to refine it and sell it was because, although the 5 Elements sect seemed to be powerful, they were short on cultivation resources. However, it was no wonder. Any sect that had been passed down for thousands of years would run out of resources if they didn't replenish it. Xianzhen ancestor was afraid that the 5 Elements sect wouldn't be able to last until the day the heavenly island opened, so he had to start making some preparations. Chapter 27:33. Plus, in the ancient sects, there weren't many rich people. He had to continue selling the pills to the hidden level to get more money. As for the hidden level, other than the qi gathering pill, the only other pill that was needed was the bone and marrow cleansing pill. Next, Patriarch Xianzhen planned to refine a few qi gathering pills and bone and marrow cleansing pills to auction at the cultivators' trade fair. Of course, at that time he wouldn't be able to concoct the qi gathering pill and the bone cleansing pill like he was doing now. He would have to rest for half a year before concocting another one. Otherwise, if he used a heavenly treasure to replenish his Zhen Qi, the value of the heavenly treasure would far exceed the value of a rank 3 pill. Unless it was absolutely necessary like now, Xianzhen Patriarch wouldn't do something like this. Will he agree to it if I go and trade with him? Kong Mingming was very happy and excited to be able to go to Donghai City to find Xiaolong. Plus, the mission that Xianzhen gave him was something that the Sky Elixir sect could only dream of. If he completed it, his position in the sect would be solidified. If he could get recognized by the Xianzhen ancestor and be accepted as a disciple, then he would have a meteoric rise. Kong Mingming could tell that the Xianzhen ancestor's position in the sect was even higher than Tiandi and Rin. He didn't know who he was, but it would be a great honor to be a disciple of such a person. However, Kong Mingming was a bit worried. He had a grudge with Lin Yi. Putting his brother Xiaolong aside, he had harmed Xiaofan and kidnapped Guan Xen. These two things made Lin Yi feel bad about him. If it wasn't for Rite 13, he would have been killed by Lin Yi. Would he be able to get anything good out of this? Although he wouldn't be killed by Lin Yi now that he was a member of the Sky Elixir sect, it was very possible that he would get beaten up by Lin Yi if the negotiations broke down. Didn't Xiaolong get beaten up too? Let's see what you have to trade with him, Xianzhen Ancestor said. Ancestor Xianzhen said, I will discuss the specifics with heaven and earth. Then you can prepare. Listen to my orders at all times. Yes. Kong Mingming had no choice. He could only reply. The reason why Patriarch Xianzhen didn't use Patriarch Xuanzhen's people to find people from the Heavenly Elixir sect was that he didn't want the disciples of the Five Elements sect to have conflicts with Boss Bai and Lin Yi again. They were all from the same sect, so why do they have to make things so bad? No matter what, let's ask him what he wants first. We'll try our best to satisfy them. If we can't, we'll find a way to replace them with something else. Ancestor Xianjin said. He was a person who knew how to repay kindness. Lin Yi's pill formula was crucial to his future plan. Moreover, he could continue to refine pills and medicine to sell. So Xianzhen felt that it was only natural to exchange items. This was completely different from Patriarch Xuanzhen's idea. However, Kong Mingming was a little unhappy. He was more inclined to the Heavenly Elixir sect, sending a few experts to rob Lin Yi. In this way, he could avenge his personal grievances and teach Lin Yi a lesson, or even kill Lin Yi. It could all be blamed on the Heavenly Elixir sect, but Patriarch Xianzhen didn't have such plans. Patriarch Xianzhen, I know that Lin Yi is stubborn. If you exchange things with him, he will definitely ask for an exorbitant price. To deal with people like him, you should use force. Kong Mingming hesitated for a moment and said, Otherwise, this task will be very difficult to complete. Use force? Patriarch Xianzhen frowned. What was the difference between this and Patriarch Xuanzhen's method? Moreover, Patriarch Xianzhen wouldn't gain anything by using force. Why were these cultivators so impetuous now? Why didn't they follow the rules? Yes, directly send 2 experts with the strength of the peak late stage of Heaven stage to ask for the pill formula from Lin Yi. If he doesn't give it, then kill him. Let's see if he gives it or not. Kong Mingming said. Patriarch Xianzhen was a little speechless. In his heart, he was disappointed with Kong Mingming. Originally, seeing that Kong Mingming had worked hard to refine pills under his guidance, Patriarch Xianzhen had a good impression of Kong Mingming. But now he felt that this child was vicious. Patriarch Xianzhen would definitely like him as a disciple. But he didn't like this kind of disciple, so he just said lightly, No need, just do as I say. If you do well, I will introduce you to my junior brother and let him accept you as a disciple in name. Your position will definitely be higher than being the 8th elder here. To let Kong Mingming do things, he naturally had to promise some benefits. Otherwise, he wouldn't do it wholeheartedly. So he gave Kong Mingming to Xianzhen as a disciple in name. Last time, Patriarch Xianzhen didn't say anything about the matter between Little One and Little 11. But he already had some complaints about Junior Brother Xuanzhen's actions. Patriarch Xianzhen clearly knew about the relationship between Lin Yi and Patriarch Xianzhen, but he hid it from Lin Yi. After that, he still thought that Patriarch Xianzhen was in the dark. Did he really think that Patriarch Xianzhen didn't have any information channels? At least, in the Heavenly Elixir sect, Patriarch Xianzhen's words had more weight than Patriarch Xuanzhen's. There was no other reason. This was a sect that refined pills. They were naturally close to a high-level alchemist like Patriarch Xianzhen. However, from this matter, Patriarch Xianzhen had a trace of doubt about what happened in the past. He could be considered to have seen through Xuanzhen's nature. Could it be that what happened in the past was related to him? Patriarch Xianzhen's cultivation deviation. Was it? Thinking of this, Patriarch Xianzhen didn't dare to imagine. Fellow disciples of the same sect actually killed each other for the position of sect leader? Patriarch Xianzhen was ambitious, but it was because his ambition was too big that his master didn't pass the position of sect leader to him. Patriarch Xuanzhen's ambition was very likely to become his fatal weakness. Boss Bai was calm, amiable, and had great aspirations in his heart. This kind of person was the kind of person that a sect leader should have. Xianzhen was only suitable to be a thug and a pioneer. Patriarch Xianzhen was the one with the least personality. He had no ambition and no aspirations. He only focused on alchemy and was not interested in anything else. This kind of person was also the kind of person that Patriarch Xianzhen liked to keep. He didn't have any competitive relationship with him and could even become his helper. During this period of time, whenever Patriarch Xianzhen thought about these things, he would feel very depressed and helpless. He didn't dare to disobey the orders of the sect and went all out to prepare for the plan to return to Heavenly Island. However, he also hoped that Boss Bai could return to preside over the overall situation and lead the 5 Elements sect to Heavenly Island. Chapter 2734. However, in the 5 Elements sect, almost everyone was Xianzhen ancestors' people and disciples. It was very difficult for Xuanzhen ancestor to do anything. Shaking his head, Xuanzhen ancestor could only stop thinking about these things. There were some things that he couldn't change. He could only endure in silence. Lin Yi stopped using Wang Xinyan's fragrance to cultivate. This made Wang Xinyan confused. She looked at Lin Yi, who was focused in class, and asked with a strange expression, Why aren't you cultivating? Oh, isn't it almost the final exam? I'm studying, Lin Yi said casually. Studying? Aren't you specially forgiven by Teacher Bai? You can get credits without taking the final exam? Wang Xinyan blinked. She was surprised by Lin Yi's answer. Haha, that's what I said. But I still have to take the exam. Lin Yi smiled. But you don't have to study so hard. Wang Xinyan bit her lips and said, How about you cultivate? I'll take off my coat. Ah. Lin Yi was stunned and looked at Wang Xinyan. I just want you to cultivate, nothing else. Wang Xinyan really didn't mean anything else. She wanted Lin Yi to cultivate as soon as possible and have the strength to fight against the Heavenly Elixir sect. That way, she wouldn't have to live in fear every day. So she wanted to help Lin Yi improve as much as possible. Originally, Lin Yi didn't want to say it. But looking at Wang Xinyan's expression, he knew that if he didn't explain clearly, she would get to the bottom of it. Lin Yi had no choice but to explain, Xinyan, it's not that I don't want to cultivate, but your body seems to have a problem because of my cultivation. My body? What's wrong? Wang Xinyan was stunned. She didn't understand what Lin Yi meant. Haven't you been lethargic recently? I suspect that it's because I've absorbed your fragrance. Lin Yi said. What? My scent? Xinyan looked at Lin Yi, a little taken aback. But Lin Yi reminded her. He seemed to have thought of something. On nights when you're not around, I can get up normally the next morning. Is that right? Yes, that's it. Lin Yi nodded. Although I'm not very sure, it should be close to the mark. So, I stopped cultivating to prevent the problem with your body from becoming more serious. Ah, that's? Then how are you going to train? Xinyan said worriedly. In her plan, Lin Yi could cultivate quickly with the help of her fragrance during his college years. By the time he graduated, he should be able to compete with the Heavenly Elixir sect. Lin Yi wouldn't be able to use her to train, and that meant that his training speed would slow down. Xinyan was a little sad about that. It's okay. Didn't I cultivate when you weren't around? Lin Yi shrugged nonchalantly and said, Plus, I've been training for so long, I've already gotten quite a lot. I'll think of other ways to train in the future. Ah, Sinyan sighed. He knew that it was related to his body, and he couldn't train anymore. So, she said, then can you think of a way to cure my body as soon as possible? Can I continue to cultivate like that? I can't say for now. Although I've been giving you medicine every day, the effect isn't very obvious. Your body seems to be getting weaker day by day. Maybe you can't feel it, but it's a big cycle change. Lin, he said. So, I can only wait until I stop cultivating and see if you can slowly recover. I see. Okay, I really hope I can get better soon. Sinyan became a little bolder with her mother's support yesterday. When that time comes, I can help you cultivate. Ah, cultivate after recovering? Lin, he was shocked. Won't there be a problem again? It's fine. I'll stop when there's a problem. I'll continue when I'm better, Sinyan said. Oh, Sinyan's words sounded like a joke, a little mischievous. But to Lin Yi, he couldn't help but feel touched. For a girl to make such a sacrifice for you. Her feelings didn't need to be expressed. No matter how stupid Lin Yi was, he could understand Sinyan's feelings. But what Lin Yi didn't understand was that if Sinyan liked him, why didn't she accept him? Was it because she was worried about Kong Xiaolong? But Lin Yi could understand Sinyan's worries. With the strength he had shown so far, he couldn't fight against the Sky Elixir sect. Even when Lin Yi brought up Xiao Xiao's identity the other day, he had no other choice. Xiaolong brought up the ancient background, but Lin Yi didn't. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't have brought it up. Lin Yi could fight above his level, but he was only an Earth class late phase. With that kind of strength, it was impossible to fight against the Sky Elixir sect. After thinking about it, Lin Yi didn't force Sinyan. He didn't want to cause her too much trouble. One day, when he stepped on the Sky Elixir sect, everything would be fine. Thank you. There were so many things he wanted to say, but in the end he could only say 2 words. He didn't know how to express his feelings. It's nothing. Sinyan shook her head. Why would there be a problem with my body? How troublesome. Don't worry, I'll think of something for you. Lin Yi said. Yeah. Sinyan said with a heavy nod. She trusted Lin Yi a lot. But in the next few days, Sinyan's condition got worse and worse. Lin Yi brewed the medicine for Sinyan every day. He'd even stopped practicing. Sinyan woke up normally to go to school, but it was inevitable that she'd doze off at school. What worried Lin Yi the most was that Sinyan's afternoon nap became a nap every time between classes. She even had to fight to keep her eyes open during class. If she wasn't careful, she'd fall asleep. Sinyan's constant drowsiness worried both Lin Yi and Xiaolong. Xiaolong couldn't hold it in anymore, seeing how Sinyan kept falling asleep in class for no reason. He didn't even have the chance to get close to Sinyan, because other than during class, Sinyan was sleeping all the time. It was impossible for him to get close to her even if he wanted to. She was even sleeping during class. What chance did he have? Chapter 27:35. What did you do to her last night? I don't think we should let her stay in the dorms at school. Xiaolong knew from the hospital that Sinyan was still a virgin, but Sinyan was a girl living in Lin Yi's villa with Mengyao and Yushu. Xiaolong didn't feel comfortable letting her stay in the school dorms, so he decided to use this opportunity as an excuse to have Sinyan move back to the school dorms. There's something wrong with her body. Lin Yi didn't plan on hiding it from Xiaolong. He just needed to hide the fact that she was training. Her body's getting weaker and weaker. What else can I do to her? I would have done it a long time ago if I wanted to. You're hurting her by letting her stay in the dorms. What? There's something wrong with her body? Xiaolong was shocked. What did you say? Are you serious? Why is her body getting weaker and weaker? Wasn't she fine before? Why did she get weaker after meeting you? If Xiaolong had said this at any other time, Lin Yi would have sent him flying with a kick. But because of his guilt toward Xinyan, Xiaolong was right. Xinyan only became weaker after meeting him, and that made Lin Yi feel very guilty. But he couldn't back down in front of Xiaolong. He looked at him and said faintly, "Xinyan's body has been weak since she was young. You're her fiancé, don't you know that? I don't think you should be her fiancé anymore. You don't know her as well as I do." "But I want to know her too. You've been hogging the seat beside Xinyan all day. What can I do?" Xiaolong said, a little annoyed. Then, "How's her situation now?" "Not too well. I've given her the medicine, but the effects aren't that obvious, and it's getting worse and worse." Lin Yi had been thinking about Xinyan's problem for the past couple of days. He couldn't eat or drink, and this was all because of him. If something were to happen to Xinyan, then he'd be the one to blame for it. "You made the medicine? Can it be used? It can't kill someone, can it?" Xiaolong was furious at Lin Yi's words. "She's sick. You should be sending her to the hospital. What if you treat her on your own and make her sick? Are you really stupid or just pretending to be stupid? Cultivators go to the hospital. Besides, she's not sick at all. She's just weak. It should be a problem with her body. It's useless to go to the hospital." Lin Yi said, "If you have the ability, don't talk to me about this nonsense. You can also think of a way." Lin Yi was at his wit's end, so Lin Yi didn't reject Xiaolong's visit. It'd be great if he could come up with a good idea. As the saying goes, brainstorming is the best. "Where's the prescription you gave her?" "Let me see. I need to get Professor Bai to appraise it. Maybe it's because of your stupid medicine." Xiaolong extended his hand, asking for the prescription from Lin Yi. "Do you think I'm Dr. Kang's medical company that specializes in scamming people?" Lin Yi curled his lips. "You." Xiaolong's face turned red at Lin Yi's words, but he couldn't refute it. After all, House Kong had done such things before. He could only huff. "You're not willing to give it to me. Are you feeling guilty? Don't talk about the past. Oh, I'll give it to you." Lin Yi took a piece of paper and wrote down the prescription for Xinyan. It wasn't a secret at all. Xiaolong didn't expect Lin Yi to write down the prescription so quickly. He was a little surprised, but he still took the prescription and went to find Boss Bai. The reason why Lin Yi gave it so quickly was because he wanted Xiaolong to discuss with the Hidden House Yu or even the Sky Elixir sect to see if they could improve the prescription. For Xinyan, Lin Yi didn't care about these small details. After a while, Boss Bai came. Lin Yi had talked to Boss Bai about Xinyan, and Boss Bai had been studying Xinyan's problem. He knew what was going on the moment Xiaolong saw him. He explained to Xiaolong, "There's no problem with this prescription. Lin Yi has shown it to me these few days, but the effect isn't great. It's not that the prescription isn't good, but that these herbs are just too common. These herbs should be fine for normal diseases. But Xinyan's body has been weak since she was young. These herbs can't replenish the energy she loses every day, and that's why her body is getting weaker and weaker." Then why was she fine before? Why did she become like this after going to Lin Yi's house? Xiaolong wasn't an idiot. Boss Bai smiled bitterly, thinking that Xiaolong wasn't an idiot after all. He had discussed with Lin Yi a long time ago. Xinyan's body was weak when she was young, and her father brought her everywhere to seek treatment. They met a traveling master who gave her father some herbs, including a rare elixir. That's why Xinyan has been fine all these years. But now it seems that the effects of those herbs and elixirs have worn off, and that's why Xinyan's problem has appeared. So that's how it is. Xiaolong didn't think that Boss Bai would lie to him. After all, he didn't need to ask Wang Shubin. He could ask Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben, and he would be able to verify it later. What kind of herbs and elixirs did that traveling master give you? Is there a prescription? I'm not sure about that. According to Wang Xinyan herself, there's no such thing. But I've been looking through some ancient books these days, and I've come up with a potion that should be more useful than Lin Yi's. Bai Bo said as he took out a prescription. Xiaolong quickly took it and looked at Lin Yi with disdain. See, I told you that your prescription isn't good. Master Bai is indeed Master Bai. Your student is definitely not good enough. Lin Yi smiled noncommittally. He wasn't in the mood to argue with Xiaolong. White Boss, on the other hand, smiled. Lin Yi's recipe is already very good. My recipe is a little stronger, but it uses some of the rarer ingredients. Normal pharmacies don't even sell them. Xiaolong, isn't your brother an elder of the Sky Elixir sect? Let's ask him if he has it. Normal people didn't know that Kong Mingming had become the 8th elder of the Sky Elixir sect, but it had spread in the ancient and hidden circles. Boss Bai, as the former head of the 5 Element sect, naturally received the news as well. Chapter 2736. Boss Bai definitely wouldn't pay for the herbs. But Wang Xinyan was his fiancée after all, and he could use this as an excuse to get to know her better. Who knows? Maybe he could even move Wang Xinyan's heart. Plus, this was a chance for him to show off his brother's strength. He had no reason to refuse. Xinyan woke up at that moment, and Xiaolong patted his chest as if he was on steroids. Don't worry, Xinyan is my fiancé. No matter how expensive or difficult these herbs are, my brother will be able to find them for me. Right, Xinyan? Why don't we talk to Uncle Wang and Aunt Xiao about this? We can ask them about what happened back then. Let's see if they can find that wandering master they met back then, and see if they can get the recipe and the name of that herb? Lin Yi said to Xinyan after Xiaolong left. Aye. Xinyan's face was a little gloomy. She'd learned about her condition these days, and Lin Yi's medicine couldn't help her get better. Even when Lin Yi stopped practicing, she was still sleeping more and more every day. Was this a sign that she was going to die? But Xinyan didn't blame Lin Yi. She was helping him out of her own free will. She just didn't want to die like this. She didn't want her family, she didn't want Lin Yi to die, and she didn't want her friends to die. But there was one good thing about dying. The conflict between Lin Yi and the Sky Elixir sect would no longer exist. Xinyan, Mr. Bai, and I don't know what to do right now. You don't have to hide it anymore. Lin Yi said helplessly. All right, I'll tell my mom and dad if Professor Bai's medicine doesn't work. Xinyan nodded. She was a weak girl, and she didn't like people worrying about her own stuff. After Xiaolong left, he gave Xiao Ben a call and confirmed that Xinyan was indeed sickly and weak when she was young. There was one time when Xinyan's father, Wang Xubin, went to the Miaojiang area to collect herbs, and he met a wandering master who gave him some medicine and a spiritual herb. Xinyan's body got better after taking it. Xiaolong didn't suspect Lin Yi anymore after hearing this news. He called his brother Zhao Ming directly. Bro. Zhao Ming wanted to give Xiaolong a call as well, telling him that he was planning on going to Donghai for a mission in exchange for Lin Yi's recipe. But what troubled him was that he didn't know how to approach Lin Yi. He was afraid that Lin Yi wouldn't just ignore him, but would beat him up instead. Zhao Ming, can you answer the phone now? Xiaolong asked. Although Kong Mingming was his brother, Kong Ming's status was different now. He had to be careful. Brother, I was just about to call you. I might need to go back to Donghai in the next few days, Kong Mingming said. What? You're going back to Donghai? That's great. I was just about to ask you to come back. I'm calling you because there's something I need your help with, Xiaolong said. Your sister-in-law, Wang Xinyan, has some problems with her health. Problems with her body? What problems? Kong Mingming paused. It's just that her body has been weak since she was young, and it's acting up again recently. She's always sleeping. Xiaolong told Zhao Ming about Xinyan's situation. Zhao Ming, you have to help your bro this time. I've already asked for these ingredients. You have to get them. That's easy. Kong Mingming listened to what Xiaolong said. The herbs might be valuable in the common world, but they weren't that rare in the Sky Elixir sect. With Kong Ming's status, it was natural that he could get some of them. Of course, it was also included in the elders' monthly allowance. But Kong Xiaoming had an advantage. and that was that he was going to carry out Xian Zhen's mission. He could use the ingredients that Xin Yan needed as a stepping stone to get in touch with Lin Yi, so the cost would naturally be on the Sky Elixir sect and Xian Jin's shoulders. All right, I'll leave this to you, brother. Zhao Long let out a breath of relief when he heard Kong Mingming's response. He finally had face in front of Lin Yi. In fact, Zhao Long had secretly analyzed the difference between him and Lin Yi. Didn't Lin Yi always come up with new and interesting things to make girls happy? He would do that to Xin Yan in the future, and it wouldn't be a problem for him to win her over. Of course, this was his own analysis. The relationship between Lin Yi and Xin Yan wasn't as simple as just pleasing her anymore. The fate between the two was truly miraculous. They'd been sitting together since they first met, and they were still sitting together now. I'll let you know the exact time when I have news. On the other side, a disciple came to report to Kong Mingming, asking him to go to the silkworm transformation room. Kong Mingming was overjoyed and quickly ended the call. Kong Mingming had been worrying about the lack of a chance to get close to the silkworm transformation. Now that there was a chance, how could he not be excited? He ran to the gate of the heavenly silkworm transformation's courtyard and knocked on the door carefully. It's Elder Kong. The young master is waiting for you. Come with me. The person who opened the door was still the silkworm transformation made from before, but this time her attitude towards Kong Mingming was much better. Thank you. Kong Mingming's goal was to become a maid, to be able to stay by the silkworm transformation side all the time. This maid was someone he'd have to befriend in the future, and Kong Mingming had to be polite to her. The maid was a bit surprised. The position of an elder of the Sky Elixir sect wasn't as high as the silkworm transformation, but she was still a maid. She had to maintain some dignity, and other people would at most say in without saying thank you. You're welcome. The maid's impression of Kong Mingming improved quite a bit, and a smile flashed in her eyes. May I know your name, beautiful lady? Kong Mingming was overjoyed to see that he'd managed to gain the favor of the maid. The maid wasn't very pretty, but Kong Mingming was a master at picking up girls. He'd turned the maid into a beautiful lady in no time. Chapter 27:37. In the past few months, Kong Mingming had eaten a lot of natural treasures. Coupled with his diligent cultivation, he had changed from his previous weak appearance, which had been hollowed out by wine and women. He was really an elegant young man. No wonder Little Peach was attracted to him. Puff, Little Peach? Kong Mingming wanted to complain. Why are all maids called Little Peach? In the TV series and novels he had seen, there were many Little Peaches. However, for his dream and goal, Kong Mingming resolutely said with fake surprise, "Good name. You are like your name. Your face and peach blossoms reflect each other. This artistic conception is really amazing. Ah, Elder Kong, you are so knowledgeable. You can even recite poems." Little Peach said shyly in surprise, "Of course. Haha, my hand is so wet." Kong Mingming laughed and sighed in his heart. This Little Peach is really not good-looking, but it's also a good thing. If she is good-looking, will she leave the heavenly silkworm transformation to me? Then I won't have a chance. In the blink of an eye, Kong Mingming already had a plan. He would get Little Peach first, and then get the heavenly silkworm transformation. He would have a threesome with both men and women. At that time, he might be able to marry both the master and the servant. That would be awesome. Anyway, the Heavenly Elixir sect was an ancient sect, so it should not be a big deal to be gay. Moreover, Kong Mingming was confident in his appearance. During this period of time, he had been taking tonics and cultivating, and he had already been reborn. He believed that as long as he guided the heavenly silkworm transformation to change its sexual orientation, it should still have a chance to be attractive to both men and women. "Oh, Elder Kong, I am talking to you. Don't let the young master wait." Little Peach said quickly. Then she led Kong Ming Ming through a long corridor in the courtyard and came to the door of a house. Little Peach knocked on the door, and the voice of the heavenly silkworm transformation came from inside. Please come in. Kong Ming Ming carefully followed Little Peach into the room of the heavenly silkworm transformation. He did not dare to breathe loudly. He was like a different person from when he teased Little Peach. Elder Kong, you're here. Have a seat. Silkworm pointed at a cushion in front of her meditating area. Little Peach, go pour some tea for Xiaolong. Yes, young sect master. Little Peach became respectful and cautious before the heavenly silkworm transformation. At this time, Kong Ming Ming hurriedly said, Young master, don't bother, I'm not thirsty. You can call me Xiaoming. I don't deserve to be called Elder Kong. Little Ming? Silkworm transformation was stunned, but he still nodded and said, Okay, then I'll call you Little Ming. Kong Ming Ming was overjoyed. Only then did he dare to raise his head and say, Young lord, why are you looking for me? However, when Kong Ming Ming raised his head, he was stunned. What a handsome man! He was even more beautiful than the silkworm transformation that she had seen in the Hidden Right family. Was it because he had eaten the bone and marrow cleansing pill that she had refined? If that was the case, it was normal for him to become even more beautiful. At this moment, Kong Ming Ming had a ridiculous thought, and that was to get intimate with him. It turned out that when people saw a man who was more beautiful than a beautiful woman, they would also change their sexual orientation. At least, this was what happened to Kong Ming Ming. Oh, it's like this. Xian Zhan Grandmaster told you, right? This time, when you go to East Ocean City, you have to find a way to exchange for the real recipe of the bone and marrow cleansing pill. The Heavenly Elixir Sect will be your backup. You and that Lin, you will come and study it. If you need anything, you can ask me directly. Silkworm Transformation said. But this time you must complete the task. Xian Zhen Grand Master places great importance on this matter. Yes, young lord, don't worry. I will do my best to complete the task. Kong Ming Ming patted his chest and promised. Okay, you can leave now. Silkworm Transformation waved her hand. Young lord, are you tired? Do you want me to give you a massage? When I was learning how to make elixirs, I learned a set of massage techniques from Xian Zhan Grandmaster. Young lord, do you want to try it? Can I serve you, Xiaoming? Kong Ming Ming said flatteringly. He had indeed learned a set of massage techniques. In the beginning, he had wanted to rely on silkworm transformation with this idea. Massage? Service? Silkworm transformation's expression changed slightly. He frowned and said no need. I appreciate your kindness. You can leave now. Little Peach, see the guest out. Elder Kong, this way, please. Little Peach gestured for Elder Kong to enter. Kong Ming Ming wasn't discouraged. After all, it was the first time that he had surrendered to silkworm transformation, and it was normal that silkworm transformation didn't accept him. He believed that with his hard work, he would be able to make silkworm transformation like him. Even if they couldn't become friends, it was fine to be his lackey. Little Peach, does the young master have any hobbies? Kong Xiaoming pretended to be nonchalant as he walked out of the courtyard. Huh, what are you doing? Little Peach looked at Kong Xiaoming cautiously. You aren't planning something on the young master, are you? Why would I? Young lord is handsome. Although I'm not as handsome as him, I'm not gay. In my heart, Little Peach is prettier. Kong Ming Ming quickly explained. Is that so? Little Peach heard Kong Ming Ming's words and thought that was indeed the case. Kong Ming Ming's naked confession made Little Peach's heart beat faster. Kong, Elder Kong, Little Peach isn't as pretty as young lord. Haha, that's different. He's a handsome guy and you're beauty. Oh right, don't call me Elder Kong. It's so distant. How about you call me brother Xiaoming from now on? Kong Ming Ming said. Okay, brother Xiaoming. Little Peach said shyly. It was no wonder that Little Peach was moved. Other than Sky Silkworm Shapeshifter, there was no other handsome guy that came into contact with her. And with Sky Silkworm Shapeshifter's background, Little Peach had already given up on the idea. With Kong Ming Ming appearing out of nowhere, it was only natural for her to be moved. She wasn't a beauty, and she knew that. Although she suspected that Kong Ming Ming was lying to her, she was still fooled by Kong Ming Ming's sweet words. She wasn't young anymore, but she didn't have much experience in the world. Naturally, she was fooled by Kong Ming Ming. Kong Ming Ming's sweet words were known as the killer of innocent girls. Didn't Fin fall for it too? Hey, Little Peach, I won't hide it from you. Since I want to pursue you, then I'll be honest with you. Kong Ming Ming sighed and pretended to be troubled. Ah. Little Peach's heart skipped a beat when Xiaolong said, want to pursue you. She was lost for a moment. Zhao Ming bro. Chapter 2738. Think about it, the young master is a man. What can I covet from him? Isn't it because I want him to value me and make a name for myself? In the Heavenly Elixir sect, although I'm an elder, I'm the lowest ranked elder, and I have no foundation. It's difficult for me to achieve something big. That's why you approached me and fawned over me, right? Little Peach was not stupid. After listening to Kong Ming Ming's words, she asked warily, you don't really like me. You're doing this because you want to get information about the young master from me, right? Little Peach, you're thinking too much. Kong Ming Ming waved his hand and said, I admit that I was exaggerating when I said you were beautiful, but I like you just like that. The most important thing is that you and I are a good match. You're the young master's maid, and I'm an elder. In the Heavenly Elixir sect, you're the only one who can be my wife of the right age. Even if the servants are prettier than you, can I marry them? How shameful would that be? I'm an elder. Moreover, my taste is a little special. When I was young, I saw too many beautiful women and was a little tired. When I saw Little Peach, my eyes suddenly lit up. It's as if you're the one for me. Brother Xiaoming, is what you said true? Little Peach's eyes sparkled. Of course. Kong Xiaoming told a bunch of **T lies, but he managed to capture Little Peach's heart. These half-truths and half-lies were the most lethal. He wasn't afraid that Little Peach would think too much when she went back because Kong Xiaoming had already confessed his purpose. Brother Xiaoming, don't worry and carry out your mission. I'll help you put in a good word for the Heavenly Elixir sect. As for what the young master likes, I'll tell you when you come back. Little Peach said, Okay, Little Peach, you helping me is also helping yourself. If the young master has a good impression of me, then I'll go ask for your hand in marriage. Otherwise, the young master wouldn't have betrothed you to me. Kong Xiaoming said, Come in. Little Peach's cheeks were flushed red. Full. Xiaoming let out a long sigh of relief as he watched Peach leave. His eyes were filled with excitement. He'd succeeded. The first step was a success. It was too smooth. He was a master at picking up girls. The next morning, Kong Ming Ming brought the ingredients Xiaolong needed to Donghai City. Xiaolong was overjoyed when he heard that Kong Ming Ming was leaving. He waited for Xinyan to wake up and eat lunch. Xiaolong sat in front of Xinyan and Lin Yi. Xinyan, don't worry, I've already asked my younger brother, the 8th elder of the Heavenly Elixir sect, to come here. After he arrives, I believe that the problem with your body will definitely be solved. He is a heaven stage master, a 3rd-grade alchemist, much stronger than some earth stage masters who are not even alchemists yet. Xinyan, don't worry. I've sent my brother, the 8th elder of the Heavenly Elixir Master. I'm sure he'll be able to solve your problem. He's a Sky Class, a 3rd-level refiner. He's much stronger than some Earth-class refiners. Xiaolong looked at Lin Yi provokingly. He'd been holding it in for too long, and he finally had a chance to let it all out. Lin Yi didn't comment on Xiaolong's words. Let's talk about it when it's done. Xiaolong had placed all his hopes on Kong Xiaoming, or more accurately, the Sky Elixir sect. When the time came, Xiaolong would use Xinyan's illness as a condition to negotiate with the Sky Elixir sect in exchange for Lin Yi's recipe. With the Sky Elixir sect as his backing, Xinyan's illness would be cured. This was why Xiaolong dared to talk big like this. Oh, Lin Yi didn't want to argue before Kong Mingming came. He'd hold it in for Xinyan's sake. But if Kong Mingming couldn't cure Xinyan's illness, there was no need for him to hold back. Oh, Lin Yi didn't want to argue before Kong Mingming came. He'd hold it in for Xinyan's sake. But if Kong Mingming couldn't cure Xinyan's illness, then there was no need for him to hold back. Both Xinyan and Lin Yi were expressionless, and Xiaolong felt like he was playing the lute to a cow. He left, depressed, Donghai Engineering University, Professor Bai's office. Lin Yi, Xinyan, Xiaolong, and Kong Mingming, who just arrived in Donghai, sat there. Lin Yi hated Kong Mingming a lot. But since Kong Mingming had given Xinyan so many precious herbs, Lin Yi decided to hold it in for now. In actuality, Lin Yi was thinking that he could just ask Xinyan's father, Wang Shubin, to buy these ingredients. If even a high-grade ingredient like the sky barrier-breaking fruit could be in his hands, then Boss Bai's ingredients shouldn't be a problem. But Xinyan didn't want to tell her parents about her health, and Lin Yi had no choice but to blackmail Xiaolong. Luckily, Lin Yi didn't feel like he owed Kong Mingming anything. In fact, it was Kong Mingming who owed him. Haha, isn't this Lin Yi? Long time no see. I heard you're in Earth class, late phase now? Not bad, not bad. You'll catch up to me soon. I'm just a Sky class mid-phase. Kong Mingming laughed. Oh, then you've leveled up pretty fast. How many Qi gathering pills did you eat? Lin Yi asked. Just 3. Kong Mingming said faintly. Sky Elixir sect values me quite a lot. I'm working for the young master of the Sky Silkworm sect right now, so I'm his direct subordinate. Lin Yi frowned. Kong Mingming was valued by the young master of the Sky Elixir sect? Was it because he knew how to make the bone cleansing pill? That shouldn't be the case. Logically speaking, trash like him should be tossed aside after being used. Why would he value him? Cut the bullshit. Since you're so powerful, why don't you take a look at Xinyan's condition? Your brother said that you can cure her. Lin Yi didn't want to waste time with Kong Mingming. Wait. Kong Mingming waved his hand. I don't just casually make house calls. There's a condition. What condition? Lin Yi asked patiently. The condition is simple. I can make house calls for Xinyan, but in exchange, you have to give something in return. Kong Mingming turned to Lin Yi. What a joke. Xinyan is your fiancé, and you're asking me for something in exchange for her treatment? Are you sick? Lin Yi looked at Kong Mingming as if he was an idiot. Or are you saying that Xinyan has nothing to do with House Kong anymore? You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.